only 46 days away from the most important election in world history. All the roads lead together at this great crossroads. And the globalists, the Chinese communists, the unelected dictatorial EU, the America-hating Hollywood, and the coastal elites are hell-bent on driving the populist awakening into the sea. But that's not going to happen. As long as those of us on the cutting edge of the fight stay the course, don't falter and don't waver, and realize it's a great honor to be in the middle of history taking place. No, ladies and gentlemen, we're not watching science fiction adventure movies with super action heroes. We are the men and women that will decide the human destiny. Will the Tim Cooks and other tyrants of the planet enslave us? Are we crap like they think we are? Or will we transcend their attempt at massive social conditioning and human depopulation on terra firma? We have massive breaking news for you, ladies and gentlemen. And we knew that this was coming because the Soros group, the groups he funds, the Democratic Party, and U.S. Democrat senators have all called for InfoWars to be completely shut down in congressional hearings. 100% authoritarianism, the likes of which you saw in Nazi Germany or Communist China today. When stuff like this happens in Venezuela, it's big national news here. When the Democrats do it, it's par for the course. You've got Governor Jerry Brown saying that they need to basically kill the president. You've got Maxine Waters a few days ago. We played the clip saying it's time to knock him off. It means kill somebody. That's the definition of knocking somebody off. Its first definition in Webster means to kill. So they are heating up and realize that our champion Trump is in the front lines, battling as hard as he can. In fact, I went through all 200 articles, but the one I don't have is the one about Trump rescinds. If I could have that, please. The declassification of the fake Russiagate documents. He didn't actually really do that. It's posted on Infowars.com. What he said was, like the JFK documents, he said, release them. And they said, okay, we want to redact a few areas. He said, fine. He went and had the Inspector General check it. The same thing's happening yet again, but we need to get these out way before the election. These are bombshell between Comey and the rest of them. There it is. Trump walks back his plan to declassify Russia probe documents. That's the same headline RT has. You know, RT is getting worse and worse and worse. Pull up the RT headline. It's the same stupid headline. Wait, the RT's mainstream media, especially RT America. Now, obviously, the big news here. PayPal. We got a call from our PayPal rep. That we've been with PayPal 20 years, and millions of dollars a year goes through there. And they tried to get us to a meeting a few weeks ago, wanted all of our other processes and all our other companies and our financial data. And I told Tim, I said, don't go to that. I said, they're getting ready to ban us. I see Right Wing Watch and the People from American Way and Soros calling for it to be shut down. They want a blueprint to try to harass everybody, in my opinion. And sure enough, he got the call yesterday from one of the reps saying, oh, we need to talk to you tomorrow in a big meeting to let you know what's going to happen. And he said, oh, you're going to ban us. And they said, well, how do you know? Yeah, he goes, you better get your boss on the line. So we got a senior person on. We recorded him as well. Tim did. I may release the audio, but the transcripts are an article on Infowars.com. And what they're doing now is giving the story to all the mainstream corporate media. And then they can release it at, I'd say, 7 o'clock tonight. That's the formula, like when Apple banned our #1 app, #1 on news, a couple million downloads since it came out 2 months ago. When they banned you being able to download that, if you still have it on your phone, it's still there. It was released at 7 o'clock on a Friday night. They find that the best time to bury something. So we're getting the jump on them today, world exclusive. PayPal bans InfoWars after lobbying by Soros funding group. And I just decided I'm going to upload the 5-minute phone conversation to the site as well so you can hear that for yourself. So pretty incredible. It's all coming up straight ahead. This is next level authoritarianism. It's Mark of the Beast, 9 people from commerce. It's Friday, September 21st, 2018. I'm your host, Alex Jones, and I was going to take off today because my 10-year-old daughter particularly wanted me to let her play hooky. She loves it when it's raining outside. It's been raining torrentially. She wanted to go around the Greenbelt with a little hammer I got her like 5 years ago for finding fossils, a little geology hammer. She wanted to go dig fossils in the rings. That's a good time to go into the alluvial plain here in Austin, Texas. There's an old extinct volcano we like to go out to, and she finds quartz crystals and things like that. Sometimes some pretty spectacular fossils. In fact, one of the places we've gone, they found plesiosaurs and T-Rexes, you name it. So she just loves it. And we go out and walk a few miles off into the woods up to some creeks where nobody ever goes and really find some neat things. But I'm not here with her. I am in this studio, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm not there with her. I am here for a big reason, a very, very big reason. We have seen the Democratic Party, foreign multinational corporations, the Communist Chinese, George Soros, the famous currency speculator that's brought down over 20 nations, the Hollywood media combine, all trying to destroy me, build me up as this demon, sue me, attack me, go after all our platforms to silence us, to really start the defamation ahead of the assassination. First they assassinate the character, then they assassinate a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more, until you basically are dead, even though you're still alive. That's how they do it in the 21st century. And so we knew, when I was talking to White House sources and campaign sources and others, and you heard Mike Cernovich on here a few months ago when they first banned me, he said, listen, the big thing they're going to go after is PayPal and credit card processors harassing them. And that's the group that Van Jones still heads up in a U.S. government office that Trump hasn't even gotten rid of yet, because there's such a mutiny against Trump, he can't even get hardly anything done. Despite that, he turned the wheel a few degrees, and things have gotten much, much better right away. So the final thing that a tyrant does, whether you're Adolf Hitler, or whether you're Joseph Stalin, or whether you're V.I. Lenin, or whether you're Mao Zedong, or whether you're Pol Pot, or whether you are Fidel Castro, or whether you're Hugo Chavez, or whether you are Julius Caesar, is you have money that only you stamp and issue, and then you can actually ban certain people through licensure from being able to even engage in commerce. And so America was founded about getting away from, if you weren't a British lord, you couldn't be in business. Well, America was really founded over business and over the fact that better men weren't allowed to set up shop or have a factory or any other service you can imagine if they weren't working under some inbred, mentally retarded British lord. And so people were really sick of that royal licensure situation. If you actually read the writings of our founders, that was why. That's why we had the war. It wasn't over a tea tax. So it's happening again. And Hitler first grabbed political groups he didn't like, Jews and many others, and put them in ghettos and said, you're not allowed to engage in commerce. First they demonized groups, then they started cutting off their banking, then their commerce, then their shops. Everybody knows about Crystal Knot, all the rest of it. And that's been done by the communists in Russia. It was done by the Maoists in China. This is an exact formulae. You would have the big oil companies and the big robber baron railroads in famous cases in Colorado and the Dakotas and California, where you'd have towns of 300, 400, 500 people that actually own the land, had the title, but the railroad wanted to come through it and wanted the gold or oil, and they'd send in Pinkerton security in famous cases and kill hundreds of men, women, and children. In Colorado, you name it, there's famous cases of Pinkerton massacres in the last century. In the last century, in the 20th century, not the 21st century, 1920s, 30s, you name it, they were still coming into towns and killing everybody, riding toddlers down on horseback, just running over babies. That's what they do. They'd pull up with wagons with Gatling guns and just pop, 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 just kill everybody. So we've been through this before. All right? It's the same crap. Different you know what. And it's all being done high-tech behind this wall of internet largesse by the so-called tech titans and the techies. They think we're stupid. And because we've pioneered the fact that Google broke its search engine 2 years ago. We use it constantly. We know. because we pioneered the communist Chinese social score coming to America 5 years ago, 3 years before anybody else reported on it. Because in thousands of cases, we break the story first that Google filed a patent 20 years ago to start watching and listening to you over computers. Or that Samsung filed a patent 10 years ago and told users 6 years ago. They know we know what we're doing. So they want us shut down. They want us silenced in a big, big way. And so it happened. And at the bottom of the hour, I'm going to read this entire Paul Joseph Watson article that I also contributed to. Bombshell, PayPal bans InfoWars for lobbying by Soros-funded group. And Bezos lobbied to the Washington Post to have a shutdown. Direct tortious interference, interfering in business, racketeering, you name it, to have Amazon, the biggest retailer in the world, through the Washington Post, article after article, calling for me to be shut down and my shopping cart to be shut down. That is incredibly criminal. But that's Jeff Bezos. So that's where this is all going. And I've talked to all the law firms. We 1,000,000% have winning lawsuits here. It'll take years to win. By then, it'll all be sewed up and we'll be under an authoritarian regime. Again, there we are months ago pointing out Google search engine's broken. If you're looking on TV, real.video, our YouTube video was deleted to that. And we break every bit of it down for you. We prove it all. And now that term's everywhere. Google is broken. Whether you do a search engine about bad reactions from measles shots, or you want the drug insert for the new meningitis shot where the own insert says it kills about 1% of people that take it and sterilizes people, that doesn't come up now. PR and BS comes up. So it's not broken, it's a giant fraud. What you do is you internally advertise if you're a Fortune 500 company with Google, and all they do is put your search results on top. Not as an ad at the top, all the search results, hundreds of pages of it. That's coming out. Tucker Carlson engaged in a bombshell report. We're going to be dealing with all of that. So they're making their move into commerce now to block us. Now, here's the thing. PayPal told us that we have 10 days to get off their platform entirely. They've already taken our ability to advertise on Google. They've already taken us off AdRoll. They've already taken us off Credio. They've already are going after all our other systems. And people go, oh, it's a free country. They're corporations. The Democrats are directing it. They're working with these leftist attack dog groups that are foreign funded and Soros funded. And this is just criminal bullying that's going on. It's totally on its face, racketeering, not just a monopoly, but government involved with the monopolies to do this. And Congress and the president must and will be acting very, very soon. But talking to White House sources and others, they said, Alex, your problem is not going to be being banned off these platforms. They're coming after the NRA. Everybody's able to process money. And they said they're going to even do it to average conservatives. That's the word from the Democrats, a reign of terror if they get into office. So if they ever get control of the House or the Senate or the presidency, they're going pure authoritarian. The good news is the White House knows that. But as a little protest, I think a lot of people should delete PayPal. They're famous for keeping your money if you're a merchant and scams. Whatever you can dump out of your PayPal wallet before you delete it, at InfoWarsStore.com to get a water filter, an air filter, to get great T-shirts, books, films, our great supplements. Go make a huge purchase to let us get a good signal that you want us to go forward against this. We're not going to back down. I'm going to fight, keep swinging till the end. And it looks like we're going to win. You know, they had that big article this week, Alex Jones is winning the info war. That really pissed him off, showing our numbers are way up. Well, actually, you're winning the info war by standing up to these bullies, but now's the big test. So, InfoWarsStore.com. All right, there's a lot of other news coming up as well, but this is next level, folks. Please spread the live links right now. Well, all I can say is Trump is on fire, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be getting more into the fact that the media is spinning it, that he is not going to release the secret documents of the FBI deputy director and Comey and others trying to set the presidency up and trying to derail the candidacy as well. No, he's going to release it. He's allowing a review by the inspector general, who's been a lot more trustworthy than the attorney general, making sure there's no classified information that hurts any innocent people but does expose the crooks that are involved. But getting back to this bombshell information, and it is bombshell, the Democrats are seeking to go after individuals' right to commerce and jobs. They call it a global communist Chinese social score, where everything you do political or in life is put then into a database by the big tech giants and by government, and then they start restricting your access to fly on planes, to travel, to buy, to sell. This is the plan. In fact, Google and Apple and Facebook in the last month have announced they're going to have trust scores for people that use Google, Facebook, or Apple. Remember the Nazis were bad for putting pink triangles on people and stars of David's on others? This is a total control system. So here are some of the headlines on this front that just tie into this. Bombshell, PayPal bans InfoWars after lobbying by Soros-funded group. That's the big article on Infowars.com that's so critical to get out. Here's another one. The end finally comes for Alex Jones, the Atlantic Monthly. That's the left CIA. Big tech censors Alex Jones. What's next? Ban the app. And then it goes into Alex Jones, serviced by PayPal despite obvious terms of service violations. And they told us over the phone, they said, it doesn't matter that what you're saying politically, that we call hate speech subjectively, on your news websites isn't on your shopping cart. We're banning this because of who you are. Unbelievable discrimination. Beyond not letting people eat at lunch counters because of the color of their skin, which was terrible, they're saying I have access to no digital lunch counters. And then it goes on. Alex Jones rails against big tech. His InfoWars stores still thrive. That's the Washington Post, owned by Jeff Bezos, calling for me to be shut down just a few weeks ago. And now it's happened. Oh, look, George Soros, stock up on PayPal stocks. PayPal confirms that it's buying payments in startup iZettle for $2.2 billion in all-cash deal. I think the president should block that for antitrust purposes, because now they're going to have, with Soros, a global manipulation into all these major markets and be able to sit there and censor other people in other nations. We need to block the PayPal iZettle deal. Everyone needs to call Congress. Then you read this, a new color of censorship from the SPLC, American Greatness. There's still this Office of Diversity still running the government by Van Jones. They then came out and called David Horowitz this year a Nazi. They actually say a white supremacist. He's a Israel First Jew. Blood Money, Color of Change smear campaign seeks to shut down the fundraising abilities of conservative organizations by pressuring credit card companies and payment processors to deny access to conservative groups blacklisted by the Southern Poverty Law Center. Color of Change falsely accused all these groups of promoting violence and white supremacy. They had to then remove the ban against Horowitz because calling the American Jew a Nazi didn't fly too well. WikiLeaks Icelandic court battle against Visa for blocking donations. They won. Operation Payback was a huge response, taking down Visa and MasterCard for blocking Assange. I'm not calling for the hacking community to do that. I'm simply saying this. I have stood up for WikiLeaks and to believe in what they've done. Even if I disagreed, I believe in their free speech, and I believe in the power of the press to get secret documents and to cover them. And I think WikiLeaks has been very judicious about not releasing things that hurt sovereign nations or individuals, but expose criminal activity. They have built a straw man against me, the globalists have. They have demonized and assassinated my character. Now they're assassinating our ability to even respond back on hundreds of platforms that we've been banned from, 30-plus major tech platforms. And they are now moving in for the kill to cut us off from even receiving money from people that buy high-quality products at InfoWarsStore.com. So I'm asking for WikiLeaks. I'm asking for the people that support WikiLeaks help. When I had the petition that we sent to Trump to pardon Assange, I was told by high-level sources that was part of the calculus that went into having me deplatformed 6 weeks ago. Assange is a hero. So I defend Assange, even though they build straw men about him that aren't true. They built straw men about me that aren't true. I need to be defended now, not by just this audience, but by all the white hat hackers and by everyone else that understands what's happening. I have dutifully stood the test of time and not backed down from incredible demonization, the media trying to have my children taken away from me, death threats, all of it. And I'm asking all of you that stand for free speech and for justice stand with us. And I also asked PayPal to reconsider what they've done. Now, let me do this just briefly, because here we are under financial attack. We have other systems where you can buy high-quality products via credit card at infowarsstore.com. A lot of people choose to use PayPal, and it will be crippling, to say the least, because a lot of folks only use PayPal. We still have PayPal for 10 days. You can go there and make a substantive purchase of great products you already need as a message to the globalists. You're not going to put up with their garbage. And I'm going to use this as a gauge of how serious you are about me going 110%. Because I'm not going to back down. But if we see major capital come in, I'll continue our expansion operations. If I don't see that, I don't want to stop expanding, but we're going to have to start contracting, and that will only hasten blood in the water and our destruction, and then that means your destruction. So I need everybody to go to infowarsstore.com and get X2, the last run of the amazing good halogen. Find out about the iodine conspiracy, the halogen conspiracy, the fluoride conspiracy. It's still 25% off, but it's got to end this weekend. No excuses. Super male vitality. Incredible. And super female vitality. Compounded, cold-pressed, concentrated herbs, then aged in a proprietary process, thousands of 5-star reviews. It's 50% off, and it's our last run, too. Because here's the thing. These are super high-quality formulas, and the price costs us a lot. And in the position we're in, we can't even sit there and pay the prices for these anymore. And that's the point we've gotten down to, and the enemy knows that. They've got us under surveillance. So if you want super male vitality, if you want X2, now is the time. Infowarsstore.com, InfoWarsLife.com, or 888-253-3139. And we're here asking for your help. We appreciate you. We honor you. We appreciate everything you've done already. But this really is epic history taking place. We really have changed the world with your help. We really have relaunched Americana. We really have exposed the global government. It really is on the run worldwide, but still has the power and the infrastructure and the beast system. And if you will financially stand with us, it will do incredible things. But I need to see a major move at InfoWarsStore.com. T-shirts, books, films. Sign up for auto ship. Get an additional 10% off. It's all there. And while you still can use PayPal, dump out that PayPal wallet at InfoWarsStore.com as a strong message, and then cancel it. They've backed off before, but this isn't just kicking somebody off YouTube or Facebook. This is saying, you've been with us 20 years. You've done tens of millions of dollars of business through our thing, and now we're going to shut you down because Soros bought our company. Don't write in starlight, because the words might come out real. Don't dance in darkness. Ladies and gentlemen, we are broadcasting worldwide. We are the InfoWar. And I'm quite cheerful to be under massive persecution by the devil-worshipping, child-molesting, communist-loving, God-hating New World Order. Because when they're done, their whole world government's going to come crashing down, and they're going to be crowned, from the communist Chinese to Tim Cook at Apple, King Nothing. All right. We got so much coming up next hour. The latest on Kavanaugh, the just insane stuff going on that we're going to be breaking down in great detail. But first off, let's get into the central situation that's happening. The move to take the NRA and every other gun shop and every other hunting supply shop right to have a bank account or process credit cards. That's Mark of the Beast, Isle of Patmos, John the Revelator. If you don't even believe in God, the point is, imagine what Hitler would have done with the cashless society. And so Google and Facebook now want your banking info to be on Facebook. And they want to tie it all in this big race. And they want you to put little spies in your home, like Alexa and, the Google Home Assistant. And I see TV ads where the wife's gone and the husband's there, but the little Google Assistant tells the husband he's good in a woman's voice. This is so sick. These are big, ruthless corporations that we've trusted with everything. And I've got stacks of news just today where they're taking advantage of that. Like Zuckerberg said, our users trust us. What dumb effers. Google employees corrupted their own search engine to propagandize to millions. We're going to play that clip from Tucker Carlson coming up. I know you heard this a long time ago here, but now it's coming out. Google workers discuss tweaking search function to counter travel ban. Yeah, don't criticize radical Islam. Apple gives you a trust rating based on your phone call and email habits. Oh, Tim Cook's tracking everything you do. Now, don't track what he does. He supports communist China. Google admits it still allows apps to access your Gmail. That's right. Why not? They even refuse to testify to Congress. They do whatever they want, whenever they want, because they think you're an idiot. But then there's a talk show host talking about all this and warning people and warning the president, we got to kick him off all these platforms where he's popular. We got to defame him and lie about him. And then we've got to completely remove him from the internet, period. And then we can't let him even sell books or videos or supplements. We have to fully shut him down. And then, of course, once they're able to do that, what do you think happens after that point? Everyone else. In fact, can you guys put behind me? I wanted to do this. It's the New American's current cover of their magazine, Alex Jones censored. And it says, first Alex Jones was censored, who's next? It's a pretty powerful cover. I think Marley tweeted it out last night, and I meant to tell you guys at the start of the show. Maybe next segment we'll have that and put it behind me. But right now, let's go ahead and go into this. Bombshell. PayPal bans InfoWars after lobbying by Soros-funded group, the Democrats, and more. Payment processor terminates agreement citing hate and intolerance, a perfectly nebulous, subjective term. You think teaching 5-year-olds they're another sex and trying to put them on sterilization drugs is hateful? You're banned. You think Islam throwing gay people off buildings and the government supporting it's wrong? You're banned. You think you should have your own First Amendment? You're banned. Payment processor PayPal has banned InfoWars in what represents nothing less than a political ploy designed to financially sabotage an influential media outlet just weeks ahead of the midterm elections. Company representatives called InfoWars yesterday to confirm that PayPal was terminating its agreement after a comprehensive review of the InfoWars site, which is not even the shopping cart. The company claimed that InfoWars violated PayPal's acceptable use policy because it promoted hate and discriminatory intolerance against certain communities and religions. No specific examples whatsoever were officially provided to back up the claim, which relies on the nebulous definition of hate, which is so vague that it virtually anything could qualify. And the one thing I asked Paul to add in the article he did, and we're going to do another article, maybe have Kit Daniels or Don do it or somebody else. And I don't want Liz Farrakhan to be taken off, or Nation of Islam, and I don't even want the Palestinians to be taken off. Now, the Muslim Brotherhood, that's a terror group, or CARE. They've all got their PayPal. They've all got their Facebook and YouTube. I don't. And these are groups, you know, saying Jews are the devil and things that I don't agree with, but they have a right to say it. And homosexuality is punishable by death and all this other stuff. But I'm not saying that. I'm banned. They're not, because there's an open door to Islam in this larger globalist plan. So we need to have a whole other article about PayPal bans Jones for hate, won't just define it, but then leaves groups funding terrorists up. Off records, InfoWars was told that criticism of Islam and opposition to transgenderism being taught to children in school were the two examples of hate. The ban was instituted despite InfoWarsStore.com containing no political content whatsoever, emphasizing how the decision was a broader attack on InfoWars platform. And they admit that. You're being shut down because of what you do on other websites. PayPal said they were given InfoWars 10 days to switch payment processors, after which all services would be terminated. The ban was handed down just weeks after George Soros-funded group Right Wing Watch. By the way, George Soros has bought controlling interest in PayPal, I should tell you, so it's now Soros Pal. That's right, if you have a PayPal account, you are now Soros Pal. The ban was handed down just weeks after George Soros-funded group Right Wing Watch published an article demanding that PayPal terminate its agreement with InfoWars for egregious violations of the platform's own terms of service. So a gang of leftist, Soros-funded Nazi collaborator thugs come down the street saying we're going to burn you down politically if you don't ban him, and they just put their head between their legs and kiss their ass goodbye. Right Wing Watch routinely violates copyright by opening entire sections of people's videos on YouTube without any pretense of fair use, yet the group's channel has not been deleted because they're the ruling class. Right Wing Watch is owned by People for the American Way, which is funded by George Soros' Open Society Institute, which is being banned in Europe. In addition, the Jeff Bezos-owned Washington Post published an article less than 2 weeks ago that served as a dog whistle for PayPal to ban InfoWars. Well, they actually said ban me. Entitled, "As Alex Jones rants against big tech, his InfoWars stores still thrive online." The article bemoaned the fact that despite Alex Jones being taken off every other big tech platform, the censorship had left intact key elements of his money-making machinery and digital storefronts. Got to blow that up. The article then specifically mentions how InfoWars uses PayPal to generate a high rate of sales. And had CIA-funded university professors detailing all the traffic and how to shut it down. And that's Obama and the stay-behind network he has in the CIA and the Justice Department. Yet another example of a competing media outlet abusing its dominant position to lobby to shut down a smaller media outlet. PayPal banning InfoWars is the ultimate culmination of what represents a de facto communist Chinese-style social credit score, where first you demonize, then censor, before you basically destroy the ability to operate in the marketplace and starve people to death. Yes, from the gulag to the death camp. We're now in the gulag, folks. The decision is also blatantly political, given the fact that midterms are just 45.5 days away. The crusade to ban Alex Jones and InfoWars from a myriad of other platforms was amplified by Democratic Congressman Ted Deutsch, who demanded, we have links to it all, to know why Facebook and YouTube hadn't banned Jones. Both companies complied with Deutsch's demand within weeks. See, Obama is still in office, according to them, along with Hillary. And the leader in the government is Senator Warner. So this little creature is just giving orders saying, ban him, we're the government, Trump's illegitimate, he'll be gone soon, and moving forward with this. We'll finish up with this article straight ahead and then play Tucker Carlson, incredible patriot that he is, exposing the whole thing straight ahead. Infowars.com, newswars.com. You realize that we're like the Alamo here? I mean, we're fighting hard. No matter what happens, we win in the end. If people ask who's next being censored, it's you. You're already being blocked. You're already being shadow banned. You're already being censored. You're already being tracked. You're already being watched. I've got all the mainstream articles. I mean, Google and Facebook and Twitter are watching Christians, watching conservatives, giving you worse deals on insurance, banking, giving you different search results, laughing at you, shadow banning you, making fun of you, thinking that you think you're talking to your friends and family, but wondering why they don't talk back to you. Horrible leftist scum trained in America-hating universities, now given giant control over your life because we brought these Trojan horses of the smartphones and the computers into our houses. Not the technology was bad, but because it was loaded with Trojan tech. You know, I've sat back many times and looked at the evidence and not made this announcement, but I'll say it now. InfoWars is surrounded from all sides. We are in trouble. They are trying to bring us down. We have foreign governments, Hollywood, big tech media, CIA, leftist stay-behind networks. The Justice Department's trying to set me up right now. We're under siege because we're standing up for the truth and we're effective and we believe in you and you believe in us. And really, where InfoWars is going in the future is now up to you. It really does come down to that. This is true authoritarianism when they go after your credit card processors, when they go after PayPal, when they harass your family. My number got in the hands of mainstream media. They've handed it out to thousands of people. I have random women calling up, you know, just the people calling up, calling for violence on my phone, death threats, you name it. The left are a bunch of evil, immoral, twisted people who've been given access by big tech to all your databases, to all your personal data, and they're getting ready to make a move not just on you but me. They see you as their slaves. They think you're chumps. They think you're weak, and they think you're going to roll over. I don't know what you're going to do to counter them. It should be peaceful. They clearly got false flags brewing to blame us. They don't want us on air when the false flags hit. So now more than ever, we need your spiritual support. We need your prayers. And we need you to spread the word about Infowars.com and newswars.com. And we need you to take action politically. In fact, I said I get to Tucker Carlson, but I'm going to play that 6 after next hour. I got this Trump clip I want to play as well. I need to finish reading this article that's on Infowars.com. But I've been in business with PayPal 20 years. And they ran their scams on me where they tried to hold money for a month and stuff years ago, and I threatened to sue them, and they backed off. And, Peter Thiel's supposedly a good guy and was one of the founders of it. He doesn't control it now. But George Soros is now the controller of it. That's in the news. I showed you articles earlier. And just to nebulously say, oh, you're hateful and intolerant, so when the left is totally hateful, you're banned from our platform. Again, it's still there now. We have 10 days. So you should support us today there. But it's all Senator Warner, this little monster, and others in the news lobbying to have us shut down and to have our banking taken away. Now, imagine if he said have black people's banking taken away or Jews' banking taken away. But he's doing this to me and other conservatives, and he thinks it's funny because you are asleep, because you're so confident, you're so nice. As a conservative or a Christian, you put up with persecution. It's time this stop. It must stop. So the crusade to ban Alex Jones and InfoWars from a myriad of other platforms was amplified by Democrat Congressman Ted Deutsch, who demanded, we have a link to the video, to know why Facebook and YouTube hadn't banned Jones. Both companies complied with Deutsch's demand within weeks. And there's all the videos and articles right there. As Breitbart reported, the mass deplatforming of Jones occurred 1 week after Senator Mark Warner, the vice chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, led a charge threatening new regulation of social media companies who cannot stop bad actors from using their platforms. Who defines bad actors? Lord Deutsch. So, Virginia Democrat Mark Warner, surprise force behind McMaster's of the Universe crackdown speech on the internet. And then it continues. The argument that PayPal, like other plethora of other Silicon Valley giants that banned InfoWars and Alex Jones, is just a private company, is wearing increasingly thin. To what degree will conservatives allow themselves to be punished for their political opinions? Will it get to the stage where conservatives are banned from having bank accounts? That's where we're going. Or making credit purchases because of their personal beliefs? That's actually the Chinese credit score. This is absolutely chilling. People like David Horowitz and Robert Spencer have already had access to the marketplace restricted for their criticism of radical Islam. Are we now to understand that questioning an often violent and intolerant belief system is all it takes to have your basic right to engage in commerce withdrawn? PayPal is akin to the public square of transactional commerce. It can be legally argued that their decision represents tortious interference in interstate commerce, and racketeering. The ban represents nothing less than politically motivated financial discrimination by a giant corporation abusing its monopolistic status to attack the basic right to engage in commerce. PayPal still offers its services to all kinds of unsavory groups and organizations, including groups like the Palestinian terrorists and extremists like Louis Farrakhan, and I'm not saying ban him. Why aren't they banned? Who decides what constitutes hate? InfoWars was also tipped off by sources in D.C. that payment processors will be the next target, with InfoWars being first victim, and which leftists will attempt to bring down the NRA and others after we've been taken down. And it goes on to break down that just as WikiLeaks' ability to process payments was sabotaged after it angered the deep state, the financial attack on InfoWars is being orchestrated by the resistance holdovers who are still in government positions. Other prominent conservatives and political groups must realize that while this is happening to InfoWars today, they are next. The decision to manipulate the election is writ large. This is a giant corporations taking their orders from the deep state and mobs of leftists and then destroying people's livelihoods by restricting their access to the marketplace and silencing them while they're demonized and lied about, I should add. This is an echo of how authoritarian regimes throughout history have eviscerated either political adversaries or minority groups by removing their right to engage in commerce. Now, instead of the government taking that role, it's giant monopolistic corporations allied with the Democrats who are able to get away with it because conservatives have their heads buried in the sand. This is why it's imperative that President Trump pass an executive order that offers protection to conservatives whose rights are being violated on a regular basis by big tech monopolies. This sets off a horrific domino effect and the awful precedent for free speech and freedom of commerce. PayPal must reconsider this atrocious decision. InfoWars is currently considering all legal options in response to PayPal's announcement. Please support InfoWars by purchasing products at InfoWarsStore.com while you still can, and subscribe to the podcast or donate directly at infowars.com/show. Now, I'll hit the other news when we come back, and the incredible stuff coming out on Google, who is tracking your sex, your religion, and discriminating against conservatives in their own emails. And they, again, if you're a conservative, they give you search results, this is down the emails, that are higher prices. So they're linked up with corporations. Imagine the left. Imagine total dishonor. Imagine scum of the earth. Imagine child molesters. We have articles about that coming up. And just imagine them with devices in your house, your whole world, with computer AI giving them how to manipulate you and just turning loose the worst people. Evil finally thinks they've built a machine that'll make them defeat good. Good always wins, but now they believe, evil believes, which don't be evil. Google's always been pure evil. Pure evil Google believes they finally can destroy you and your family. They finally believe they can crush you. So make no mistake, this attempt to shut me down is an attempt to destroy you and steal your birthright. That's why we're now a symbol in this fight. That's why everyone needs to pray for InfoWars, and I'm begging for that help, and needs to financially support us. And that said, X2, the last run of it, Super Bowl Vitality, last run, because the corporations get contacted, they jack up prices, we have to leave. The sabotage is everywhere. It's 25% off this weekend. It's up to full price till it sells out. It's amazing. Find out about the good halogen. Get a book. Get a T-shirt. Sign up for auto ship. Additional 10% off. Cancel anytime. 4.9 stars. Power reviews. Get the Wake Up America coffee. Free shipping. Order $50 or more. Take that PayPal while it still works and make your biggest purchase ever. And I'm going to use this as a referendum on whether I'm going to expand or what I'm going to do. How much money comes in this weekend? Because it's going to cost $1 million to sue them for antitrust and racketeering. And yeah, it'll take a year to win, but I guess I got to go ahead and start suing. And so this is a real war. The enemy has billions. I need millions. So if you believe in us, we believe in you. We need all of you while you still have free will and still have the ability to engage in contract and commerce. Go to InfoWarsStore.com and buy great products now to signal that you are the resistance. Imagine a science fiction book written in the 1980s where there's a world government, the Democrats are allied with the communist Chinese, they're trying to teach boys and girls that they aren't boys or girls, there's attacks on the family, conservative talk show hosts are being banned off the internet, they're being censored, they're being attacked, and now PayPal has come in and banned InfoWars. And said because we're hateful, some subjective term they use, when PayPal lets the communist Chinese government that's murdered 110 million plus people operate, that's okay. Or the Nation of Islam, or CARE, or the Palestinian groups that are connected to terrorism. They can operate, but I can't. How incredible is that? And it tells you just 46 days out from this historic election that the establishment is making its move and is incredibly authoritarian and has taken the gloves off at every level. So, yes, this is the end of InfoWars, ladies and gentlemen, if you let them do this. If you let PayPal and you let the credit card companies say we don't have right to commerce because they magically, without a judge or jury, give us some name, if you go along with that, then you deserve whatever they do to you. Hillary was planning massive crackdowns on free speech when she got in. But when Trump got in, they just continued on with it regardless. And they're in a mutiny, not declassifying documents the president wants, not pushing forward executive orders he wants. But he's only gotten a few things done he wanted, and the economy turned around, showing how it wasn't mismanagement. The globalists had suppressed the U.S. economy to domesticate us, to make us poor, to get rid of our middle class, to make us give in to governmental control, to finally break the will of America. But the enemy's going to find out breaking our will is a lot harder than they thought. And they're going to find that our spirit to be free is incredibly resilient. And that now humanity is picking which side it's on. I want to thank you all for support. I'm proud to be in this position, being attacked by the globalists. But at the same time, this is epic what's going on. And people need to realize that now the enemy is making their major push to remove Christians, conservatives, libertarians from commerce. The literal mark of the beast. The mainstream media calls it the communist Chinese global social score. But during a break, I saw Trump from a town hall last night with Sean Hannity. Pretty powerful stuff. I thought we'd roll a few minutes of that right now.
It has to come to an end. It's so bad for our country. I call it the witch hunt. It is so bad for our country. And when you see Strzok and Page and McCabe with his lies, they gets fired for lying. You see all of the things, and Comey for lying and leaking. You see what went on. It's got to come to an end. So bad for our country.
The irony in all of this is I have been uncovering all of this. When you think about it, Clinton bought and paid for, used funneled money, a dossier, Foreign National put it together.
A lot of money.
They never verified, they never corroborated, and it was the bulk of information. You have now said declassify and redact it. How soon will that be coming?
Well, we're moving along. We're working along. We're also dealing with foreign countries that do have a problem. I must tell you, I got called today from two very good allies saying, please, can we talk? So it's not as simple as all that. And we do have to respect their wishes, but it'll all come out.
You know what? Elections are about peace and prosperity. Your economic record, I talked about it earlier in the show tonight. Record low unemployment, 14 states, African Americans, Hispanic Americans, women, youth unemployment. We have great news on the economy. Better news with Kim Jong-un. He's not firing rockets over.
All right, we'll fade this down. More coming up, but Trump is on fire. He's got them completely scared. He's going to release all the documents. The word was, I got from a source, they were going to spike the data dump with some other group that wasn't involved to blow an operation to blame Trump like Bay of Pigs. So it's like, okay, we'll have the Inspector General certify it, but he's going to release it. So we're talking next week. That's coming out. Infowars.com, newswars.com. What is it the enemy's so afraid of? Why do they hope you don't tell everybody about the show when you walk into that truck stop in about 2 minutes? Infowars.com is the test case for the Communist Chinese Global Social Score. If you don't know what that means, look it up. Apple, Google, Facebook, they're all moving to China. They're saying, we'll help you round up people, we'll help you kill them. We don't care. Even Congress is having hearings. And now we have been banned on PayPal. They told us in 10 days it's got to be gone because George Soros and Jeff Bezos complained. And to talk about tortious interference, Bezos is the biggest shopping cart in the world going and saying, don't accept his money. Don't let people buy products from InfoWarsStore.com. Shut it down because he's a Nazi. And they even called David Horowitz a Nazi and just lost a legal case on that, so they had to reinstate him. So we're going to have to file suit. That's clear. It's going to take major money to do that. But I told people privately, going after payment processors with the line in the sand, I've got to sue the media companies because I've got to get discovery, and I've got to sue the other companies. That's going to take money to do that. InfoWarsStore.com with 56 days or 46 days, excuse my French, 46 days out. All hell is breaking loose. What an incredible time to be alive. Now, let me, for TV viewers, show you some of these articles. Radio listeners, I'll go over them for you. Google employees corrupted their own search engine to propagandize to millions. Now, that's a Zero Hedge article out today. Now, if you go back years ago, I introduced the term Google is broken. Before they had a real search engine that used an algorithm of what was most popular and what had the highest ratings, trusting human intelligence to tell the AI what was best. Not now. It's the danger of AI. Now, it tells you what they want you to know. And Tucker Carlson's done a big detailed report on this. And so as this comes out, it becomes clear you don't just pay for advertising to be at the top of a Google search. All of it has been paid by Big Pharma, by the Democrats, you name it, by Soros. I mean, they even have ads at the top from Media Matters lying about me saying Jones won't quit bullying kids from Sandy Hook. No video, no text. They just make that up, but they put it as the top link paid for. But beyond that now, it's dozens of pages deep of search engine, nothing but globalist garbage. So Google is wrecked. It's gone. It's broken completely. And that ties into Google workers discuss tweaking search functions to counter travel ban. Wall Street Journal, they did it. Any news against radical Islam, any news of a stabbing, a murder, an acid attack, girls put into sex slavery, all disappeared by Google employees. Apple now gives you a trust rating, reading your emails, tracking what you do. They decide how trustworthy you are. That's the Chinese social score. They're spying on you. Tim Cook thinks you are an animal. He thinks he owns you. Google admits to still allowing apps to access your Gmail and spy on you. Again, why would you trust criminal organizations like this? They are pure evil. Wouldn't evil, the devil masquerades as an angel of light, tell you it's the good guy? Exactly. So, here is Tucker Carlson last night getting into something we've been hammering forever. That Google employees, since the election, it was bad, but now it's complete. We live and die by Google before. We search engine everything, and during the election it got bad. Now, you can't find the weather report on it. It's broken. It's just fried. They broke the algorithm. Their main function is total garbage. And they call Jewish groups white supremacist, and they call me, you know, they called the whole Republican Party Nazis. Remember that earlier this year? As their official search of Republicans, it says Nazi Party. It's a bunch of activists out of control, no one holding them back to do whatever they want. So Tucker Carlson has finally come out and laid this out, thank God for him, that Google is evil, it means to be evil, and it's engaged in total fraud. Here it is.
Tonight we have a development in our ongoing exclusive investigation into the behavior of Google. There are new emails first obtained by this show. Now, Google, as you know, is the most powerful company in the history of the world. Virtually all human information flows through its software, and for that reason, Google shapes much of how the world understands reality. At the heart of Google's business is its search engine, which has a virtual monopoly on search in this country and others. Google search succeeds because it is blindingly efficient, but also because it is perceived as honest. When you search for a term on Google, the most popular results come to the top. The process is straightforward and democratic. That's what most people think. That's how it's perceived. And that's why the world trusts Google. But what if Google was lying to you? What if the results that you got were secretly weighted to get you to vote a certain way, to believe a certain thing? That would affect a lot of people and a lot of votes. In fact, it would be impossible to have a real democracy under circumstances like that. A small number of incredibly rich people would be in charge of everything, including your perceptions. Well, that is a major concern for all of us because Google is a very political company. We recently showed you email evidence of a Google effort to collude with a left-wing group in support of Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. Now, tonight, we have internal documents that show that Google employees discussed corrupting the company's search engine to push propaganda on hundreds of millions of unsuspecting users. Here's what happened. Shortly after taking office, President Trump issued his now famous travel ban. Almost immediately after that, Google employees began plotting ways to undermine the president's executive order. On January 29th, a Google product marketing manager named Mackenzie Thomas sent an email to a group of fellow employees. Quote, there is a large brainstorm going on throughout the marketing org, she wrote, brainstorming about how to respond to Trump's order. Among Thomas's ideas was, quote, to actively counter algorithmically biased results for search terms such as Islam, Iran, Mexico, Latino, and so forth. In other words, Google employees wanted to alter the search results to make them more positive in search.
Again, when did I get banned on Twitter? When I was #1 for 2 days. The crime is you wanting the truth. The crime is common sense. They're attacking you, not me. You just resonate with what I say. You see? Continue.
Going on throughout the marketing org, she wrote, brainstorming about how to respond to Trump's order. Among Thomas's ideas was, quote, to actively counter algorithmically biased results for search terms such as Islam, Iran, Mexico, Latino, and so forth.
Pause again.
Employees wanted.
Notice how they say what you think or what you say is bias. They dehumanize you. You're a racist, you're a homophobe, you're a hater, you're off, you can't buy and sell. Your results, what you clicked on doesn't exist. It's total authoritarianism. These people they are the authoritarians. They are the danger.
Alter the search results to make them more positive in certain cases for political reasons. Thomas also suggested promoting links for making donations to organizations fighting the travel ban. This, of course, would be completely dishonest and unethical behavior, but Thomas's colleagues at Google seemed to approve of it strongly. Product manager Rami Bana, for example, replied this way, quote, "We're absolutely in, Mackenzie, anything you need. We'll put together a list of orgs with Merrill and HL team." Another employee named Stacy Chen added that groups she thought Google should promote included the ACLU, the Immigration Defense Project, the
Before they banned me off YouTube, we would check our payment deal for advertising, and they had Southern Poverty Law Center, ADL, Media Matters, CBS News as advertisements, but they weren't paying us. They were putting it on there as an ad, but it wasn't. Continue.
Discrimination Committee and the National Immigration Law Center. All of those groups were at the time agitating against the president's immigration ban. Even at least one person on the chain seemed to realize how dangerous and out of the ordinary this conversation was. A Google employee called Clement Wolf commented that he was, quote, "very much in favor of Google stepping up, but was wondering, quote, how partisan we want to be on this. To the extent of my knowledge, we'd be breaching precedent if we only gave highlights access to organizations that support a certain view." We contacted Google about these remarkable emails, and the reply to us is here in full, quote, "These emails were just a brainstorm of ideas, none of which were ever implemented. Google has never manipulated its search results or modified any of its products."
All right, let's stop there. They totally manipulated them all. They're on record for Hillary. They are pure evil. They help round up political dissidents in China and blow their heads off and cut their organs out. And if Google could do it to you, they'd do it. So would Tim Cook, the worst slave factories in China. Tim Cook, if he could do it, would take your children and sell their livers. He is a satanic demon who hates you and your family. Period. It's proven. Welcome back. I'm your host, Alex Jones. You know, earlier I said that Apple's Tim Cook would literally blow your children's brains out if he could and cut their livers out and sell them on the open market for money. And I meant that when I said it. I wasn't being satirical. He has the worst factory since he took over as the head of Apple. Suicide nets, forced drugging, 17-hour work days, people being basically taken and killed by the communists if they don't agree. So I have a modest proposal along the lines of Jonathan Swift, because the abuse of the Irish by the English Empire were bad, but they did not rise to the level. Here's the communist Chinese, 110 million dead of their own people, and you know, here's the British Empire, which was really, really bad. And you know, I'm part Irish, but regardless, I wouldn't want to kill anybody or make them a slave. So they treated them so bad and starved them to death and worked them to death, and you know, would basically put people who didn't pay their taxes in stocks outdoors till they died, where they clamp your head and arms in a device. So Jonathan Swift thought it was pretty evil. He wrote a satirical essay in 1729 called A Modest Proposal. Everybody should go read it. And he said, why don't we just eat the Irish children? That would be a lot better, you know, because they're a burden on society. Let's just go ahead and roast them. Let's cook them. Let's eat them. And there were some people so anti-Irish, they said, yeah, let's eat them. But see, Tim Cook gives money to Black Lives Matter and gay groups, so it's okay if he supports China killing gays. It's all a cover for Apple that does all these scams to pay almost no corporate tax. In fact, they moved 7 months ago to China to pay no tax. We were at 40% corporate tax. China was 15. Trump lowers to 15 to make it even. They go, bitch, we're going zero. So you have to understand, Tim Cook is a monster. Here it is, a modest proposal for preventing the children of the poor people from being a burden on the parents or country and for making them beneficial to the public. Commonly referred to as a modest proposal, as a juvenile satirical essay written and published anonymously by Jonathan Swift in 1729. The essay suggests that the impoverished Irish might ease their economic troubles by selling their children as food for the rich gentlemen and ladies. The satirical hyperbole mocked heartless attitudes towards the poor, as well as a British policy towards the Irish in general. The primary target of Swiss satire was the rationalism of modern economics and the growth of rationalistic models of thinking in modern life at the expense of more traditional human values. So humanism versus globalism, or Christianity versus Satanism. But see, why the essay is so important is they're already dying. They're already starving to death, so why not eat them? And if you look at the scale of communist China and Apple's abuses, Apple's the leader in this, I can sit there and say, Tim Cook supports China killing its political dissidents. He says nothing. He supports and quarterbacks my deplatforming and us being taken off PayPal and everything else. The guy is a freaking monster. A clear and present danger to humanity. So to make your children not a burden on society, we already abort them, we already melt them down into college, and we already sell their body parts in communist China. Why not eat them? Because that's what Tim Cook supports. That's what he's for. That's what he's doing. I mean, these people are the Hitlers of our age. The dictator of China, the Tim Cooks, the Barack Obamas. These are monstrous, cold-blooded corporate frontmen to make your liberal inclinations feel like everything's okay while they bring in things that Hitler only dreamed of. That's what it comes down to. Now, Owen Schroyer is going to come in and take over because I was going to take off today and spend time with my family. I said I would. It's something I really need to do just because I'm like a race car. I want to go all the time, and I got to cool my engine at some point. But they have banned us in 9 days now off of PayPal, and it'll be everything else after that. It's a test. And they think it's a threat to you that if you stand up for free market in America, and if you don't want to sexualize children and tell 5-year-old boys they're really girls and 5-year-old girls are really boys, if you don't let us come in and do this stuff and abuse your children, we're going to ban you. Their number one thing is Islam, next is transsexualism. If you don't let them come in and pervert your children and brainwash your children and sexualize them with beyond pedophilia where they just rape your kid, they literally castrate them chemically, they come after you. This is a cult of succubus, sucking the energy off children. This is pure Satanism. I've never been more alive. I've never felt better. I've never felt closer to God. I'm not enjoying it in the flesh. I'm always shocked by how evil they are. I'm always shocked by how over the top they are. I'm always shocked by how the public doesn't wake up to how bad it is. But the public's always a little slow in waking up, and the worm's already started to turn. So I see great titanous giants rising up to be great generals in the humanitarian spiritual awakening. But that said, the number one referendum you can send to the enemy is that you're going to spread the Infowars.com links, the videos, the articles religiously, which you've been doing. That's why the headline this week made him mad. Alex Jones winning the Infowar, number one growing conservative site in the world, up 35%. But they cut off a lot of other ways to reach people. Yes, our own sites are up. I'd say it's a dead heat right now with the enemy. All I have is the truth. You know, I'm going to tell you the truth. But it isn't about me. It's about how long the mission goes on and the fact that they're demonizing my name ahead of destroying me and thinking they'll use it as some sigil, some signet, some logo of our defeat instead of it being our victory. Because I am for real. I do love God. I do love you. I do love the children. I do love justice. So I don't think they're going to take us down. But this could be our takedown. I mean, I never talk like this, but we're getting into that territory. So let us in a big, fiery extravaganza. Flood us with traffic. Flood us with purchases, with great products you need. Flood us with your prayers and support, and we will give you 110% finish. I'm going to go on to the end. I couldn't, but not. I mean, believe me, don't worry. Support can go to 0, and I will continue on. But I want to give them a full-bodied, full-throated fight. When I climb in the ring for the final battle with these guys, which it looks like we're starting to do here, and maybe there's some new land beyond that. You know, they spun this like I'm ready to die. I just said we've already had great victories. I'm close to God. I don't want to die. I'm not suicidal. Would never commit suicide. But I've already won. I've already done amazing historical things with your help and us together. So right now it's gravy. But I really need your prayers and support. And I need you to go to InfoWarsStore.com and get the X2 that's about to sell out, and get Real Red Pill Plus, and get our great probiotics, and get the air filtration, the water filtration, the books, the videos, the T-shirts. I mean, just from a collector standpoint, we've got Soros and the Democrats trying to shut us down. And we've been strong so long, but I smell death in the air. Now, maybe that's their political death or mine. Doesn't matter. I smell it. It's got a sweet stink to it. So all I can tell you is you might want to support us now because I think you have us on the knife's edge. I think your decision now, your will now holds my destiny in your hands. I am now in your hands. And now the decision of where I go and what InfoWars does is now in your hands now more than ever. You've carried us this far. You've carried us to amazing heights. But now, the final equation, my destiny lies with you. You are now in control of InfoWars.
I've learned something in the last, quite literally 4 hours about history and where we're going right now in this country. And if we don't do something about this immediately, America will be dead, and they will start rounding up political dissidents like they do in China, putting us into slave labor and killing us. And you say, oh my gosh, calm down. How can you say something like that? Do you see what's going on in this country? Are you that clueless? We currently are in a situation where the American left can make any claim against any individual, and they say you have to accept it, you have to believe it. How dare you even question it? Whether it's Cody Wilson, whether it's Brett Kavanaugh, whether it's Donald Trump, it doesn't matter. They allege something, no evidence, no proof, clearly made up, but how dare you question it? Well, that's dangerous enough. But there's another side to this. Now, when we bring up WikiLeaks emails that talk about the Democrats putting children in the pool and in the hot tub for your entertainment, when we bring up WikiLeaks emails with Marina Abramovich spirit cookings where they quite literally put semen and blood and feces in some sort of concoction that they rub on each other in the wall. When we bring up Jeffrey Epstein's pedophile express that Bill Clinton ditched Secret Service to go on, when we bring up all the victims of Bill Clinton, when we bring up Hillary Clinton psychologically abusing them, what does the American left say? Conspiracy theorists, how dare you, this is political. Now, why am I laying that out for you to understand? The left has gone fully tyrannical, okay? And the American right, unfortunately, is so cowardly that they won't even do anything about it. Where we have to sit here and actually hear out a floozy. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and call it. You know, this is how far the West has fallen. You want to know how far the West has fallen? Let me tell you something. In the old West, in the old days of the West, if some drunken floozy came into the high court and said, that man assaulted me, they tossed that floozy to the curb. That's what Christine Blasey Ford is. I don't care what you say about me. She's the floozy. She's the liar. The Democrats are the liars. The Democrats are fully demonic, totally treasonous. Every Democrat needs to be arrested right now, and I'm not kidding. I am not joking. When you have an entire party in this country that is willing to lie and bet their entire political movement on a lie, and you allow them to do that, you might as well be dead because they're coming to put you in jail next as a political dissident. And if they think they can get away with Christine Blasey Ford, some drunken sloozy from high school, falling around drunk all over all kinds of guys, maybe it was Brett Kavanaugh, I don't know, and then her lawyer says she doesn't have to corroborate her story. I mean, if you let them get away with that, if you allow that to dictate American politics, if you allow that to dictate America's future, then we are as good as dead. And if you allow the Democrat Party to run roughshod over our republic and our political system, they will not stop there. They will jail political dissidents, and they will kill you in your home. 110%. And it all hit me today. It all hit me today thinking about how I was going to cover this. Because what happens next? Well, someone like me comes along and tells it like it is. Someone like Alex Jones comes along and tells it like it is. Someone like Donald Trump comes along and tells it like it is. And what do? They have to silence them. They have to stop them from getting funding like they're cutting us off from PayPal, stop us from reaching our audience like they're cutting us off from social media, stop the president from reaching his audience like they shadow ban him on Twitter. You think they'll stop there, folks? They will slit every single one of our throats. Why do they hate Brett Kavanaugh so much? Because they think he might reverse Roe versus Wade. They are obsessed with abortion that deeply. Why? Why are they obsessed with abortion? Could it be because the Democrat Party gets funding from Planned Parenthood? Could that be it? Totally illegal? Could it be they just love death? Just a cult of death? Maybe they use that baby's blood and suck that baby's blood to enhance their own youthfulness and their own lives. Remember that story? Remember the story about Planned Parenthood caught selling baby parts? You ever put 1 and 1 together? It equals 2. It equals the Democrat spirit cooking. So yeah, I'm a little ticked off today. And I've got a stack of news that just breaks it all down. But I want to cover this one story before I get into the stack of news here, because you want to know why the Democrats love abortion, ladies and gentlemen? You want to know why the Democrats have Marina Abramovich spirit cookings? Here's the story. It's all over the news today. Beyonce's former drummer claims singer molested her with dark magic. A woman who once worked as a drummer for Beyonce claims the singer is wrapped up in the practices of extreme witchcraft and has been using her spells to run surveillance and control her finances, and now she wants a restraining order against Beyonce. Kimberly Thompson worked for Beyonce as her drummer for 7 years, says that she operates in dark, extreme witchcraft. There's Marina Abramovich with Jay-Z, looking possessed by the devil. You can see Lady Gaga with Marina Abramovich. You can see the Marina Abramovich spirit cookings in the Democrat emails. Now, here's the danger, folks. Yeah, my rhetoric's pretty extreme. You're right. Absolutely, my rhetoric is extreme. Absolutely, Alex Jones' rhetoric is extreme. Absolutely, it is. You know why? Because we're dealing with extreme demons. We're dealing with extreme evil. We're dealing with extreme liars. And if you think you can defeat the extreme with the politically correct, if you think you can defeat the extreme by not trying to offend people and by watching your words, you will lose. And I'm not here to lose. I'm here to win. And we are on the verge, ladies and gentlemen. They have built everything to this point to get Hillary in and bring America down. And that's where we would be if we didn't elect Donald Trump. So we have a reprieve to save America from the Democrat Party right now. I mean, if you don't think the Democrat Party is a party of evil, disgusting liars, Kamala Harris says, reasonable doubt standard does not apply to Kavanaugh Ford's sex assault charge. Doesn't need to be proven. What? Her lawyer says she doesn't have to corroborate her story. What? And then look at one of the most scummy people you're ever going to see ever on planet Earth, Kristen Gillibrand. Friends of Harvey Weinstein, friends of Bill Clinton. Again, Christine Gillibrand, congresswoman from New York, total fraud, friends with Bill Clinton, friends with Harvey Weinstein, comes out and says, we have to believe Kavanaugh's accuser. I stand with Kavanaugh's accuser. I'm going to tell you something about Kavanaugh's accuser they won't tell you on Fox News, and this is why InfoWars has to exist. Kavanaugh's accuser is a liar. Kavanaugh's accuser is a high school floozy. Kavanaugh's accuser should have been tossed to the curb with the rest of the Democrat scum that we have to deal with in this country. Did you hear me? Christine Blasey Ford is a liar and a floozy. You know, I was going to come back on here and I was going to call Christine Blasey Ford a street hooker. And then I realized that you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't call Christine Blasey Ford a street hooker. That's insulting to street hookers. She's lower than a street hooker. She's worse than a whore. I mean, at least street hooker, a whore, I mean, you know, you make a deal, there's an honest transaction. She's probably not going to go make up some lie about you, 40 years later. A street hooker pretty much is a classy lady compared to Christine Ballsy Ford. That's lower than a street hooker. That's a gutter floozy. That's lower than a pink slip. Total trash. Total trash. So here's my approach to things from now on. Because I get it. I get it. I'm watching Laura Ingraham last night, and she's got a panel, and they're talking about Christine Street Hooker, lower than Street Hooker Ford. What should we call her? Floozy Ford. She's Floozy Ford. So they're having a panel on Floozy Ford. And the only one that's even willing to cross the threshold was Joe DeGeneva. I think that's how you pronounce his name, an attorney. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, why are we walking on eggshells with this? The Democrats are out for blood. The Democrats are foaming at the mouth to crush this country, to crush free speech, to crush logic. Now, you can make up your own reasons as to why that is. Why am I walking on eggshells when the Democrats have a gun to America's head and a knife to America's throat, saying, you better not put Kavanaugh on that bench, or we're going to slit this country's throat. We're going to pull the trigger and murder this country. You better not elect Donald Trump. Don't you know we're going to murder this country? We're going to let them hold us hostage like that? I'm going to let them control my free speech so that I come on here and I'm more concerned about being politically correct than telling it like it is? Christine Floozy Ford is lower than a street hooker. She's lying trash. She might as well be Joseph Goebbels' granddaughter propagandizing the United States. So go ahead and write that story. InfoWars reporter calls Kavanaugh victim a street hooker. No, get the headline right. She's lower than a street hooker. Okay, Media Matters? Okay, Southern Poverty Law Center? I just wanted to make sure you get the headline right. I'm not calling Christine Blasey Ford a street hooker. I'm not calling her a whore. A whore and a street hooker are classy ladies compared to Christine Ballsy Ford. She is a garbage floozy. Gutter trash, gutter slime, disgusting. A liar through and through, just like the rest of the Democrat Party. Folks, here's the deal. I'm going to go down this road, and we've got a guest coming up in the next hour, part of the InfoWars Army. InfoWars Army struck twice last night in a big way. And so I'm here today, and I'm all mad and fired up. But that's just because I see the way the Democrats lie. And I just see conservatives like just softballing them. Like, well, maybe she should be heard, but, no, these people want to kill you. They will kill you. They literally want us all dead, folks. Why do you think they send death threats to every mainstream conservative that supports Donald Trump? They death threat Donald Trump every day. They death threat Don Jr. every day. They death threat Melania. They death threat Ivanka. They death threat Ann Coulter. They death threat Alex Jones. They death threat me. I mean, like, do you get it? Some guy tweeted out a picture last night of him pretending to aim a rifle scope at President Trump in Vegas. You think it's just rhetoric that they want us dead? No. They kill their babies. They want us dead. These are people that have been fully, either consciously, unconsciously, wittingly like Beyonce, or unwittingly like her fans, they have been possessed by the devil. Now, people like Beyonce use the devil possession and witchcraft and stuff to get power off of it. That's the whole cult. But then the lower level minions don't know the energy that they're experiencing, but they feel it's empowerment, and so they go with it. Yeah, the devil's empowering for sure on the devil's playground. But it will not deliver you. And so it's just unbelievable to me because I see the picture, folks. And the truth of the matter is, if we don't, it's not the old saying, taking the gloves off, no holds barred. Okay, you can you use every cliche in the book, folks. And unfortunately, because this is America, this is not a dictatorship. We're not authoritarian here. Honestly, that's what's going to actually probably kill this country in the end, because we cannot just arrest every Democrat. We cannot just put these people in insane asylums, which is where they belong. And because we can't do that, they will overrun us, just like they're doing right now, just like they tried to do in 2016. So really our only hope is to vote and hope that the votes aren't rigged. Because if the Democrats get in, folks, it's game over. It's over. There is no holds barred. You want to talk about no holds barred? Think about all the holds President Trump has put on right now when it comes to arresting the deep state and all the people we know are guilty of treason. There's no holds barred. It's all holds barred. We're totally holding it all. None of these Democrats have been arrested. None of these Democrats have been censured. So it's totally holds barred. No holds barred would be launching investigations into Dianne Feinstein and her $100 million. No holds barred would be launching investigation into Nancy Pelosi and her hundreds of millions of dollars. No holds barred would be launching investigations into Chuck Schumer, who says there's FBI precedent to investigate these 35-year-old claims. No, there's not. The FBI precedent is not to investigate. Why is Chuck Schumer lying through his dirty, rotten rat mouth? Because the Democrats are in no holds barred mode, folks. Just think about it. The Democrats tell you, you have to believe every woman that ever comes forward with sexual assault claims. You can't even question it. How dare you? Except they don't practice what they preach. Bill Clinton's accusers get nothing. Keith Ellison's accusers get nothing. Zero, zilch, nada. They don't exist. How about the millions of dollars of government money that went to settling sexual assault claims for the last 20 years? The Democrats want to declassify that? Nope. Oh, but a slut from high school says, I think I was in bed with Brett Kavanaugh and he can't be on the Supreme Court. And her lawyer says, she doesn't have to corroborate that. And then they say, well, we want to have a testimony on Monday. And then she backs out. And then what do they say? Oh, well, we want Kavanaugh to testify first, and then we'll testify after. Wow. How dumb do you think we are? Why would they want Kavanaugh to testify first? Oh, so they can hear Kavanaugh's testimony, and then they can build their legal argument off that. Here's what I'm trying to say, folks. Here's what I'm trying to tell you. The Democrats have no boundaries. The Democrats have no character. The Democrats have no holds barred. If they are willing to make up sexual assault allegations, fake sexual assault allegations, all of them commit to it, all of them tell you it's true, and then use Hollywood. Oh, look at all the dingbats in Hollywood, too. I mean, can you believe this? See, this is what I'm talking about, okay? These people want to run your life. And you know what? It'd be one thing if they were honest. It'd be one thing if they genuinely were honest people that cared about you and wanted you to know what's going on. They're the exact opposite. They're devil-worshiping, spirit-cooking, pedophile Satanists that sacrifice children. Yeah. Yeah. Why do you think they're willing to do a video saying, we believe Kavanaugh's accuser? Because they're all in on it together. They all go to the frickin' spirit cookings, man. I can't even focus enough to plug here, and we're being censored off everywhere. People can't even find our broadcast. They're about to take us off PayPal, so you can't even fund us. And I can't even focus enough to fund because I have Democrats, Satanists, pedophiles, Hollywood, all trying to run my life, and I got people that are too scared to even say so because of the political correct nature of media. I got news for you. If you want to be PC, that's going to be your death. Because I got news for you. The Democrats aren't PC. They make up anything. They make up sex assault allegations. They make up collusion. They spend millions of dollars, all their time, all the Hollywood, all the media, to build arguments on lies. They know it's lies. I can't even plug because I'm so unfocused here. Infowarsstore.com, 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 Infowarsstore.com. Infowarsstore.com, Infowarsstore.com. They're going to ban you from being able to fund us. Do you understand that? Do you understand how serious this is? They're about to ban you from funding us at Infowarsstore.com. It doesn't matter that the floozy slut, gutter rat, Kavanaugh accuser, goes to anti-Trump marches, wears the P hat, you know, is politically active for Hillary Clinton. I believe she even funded Democrats. None of that matters. She gets to make up a claim from 35 years ago, and that again, I'm gonna say this one more time, and then I'm gonna get to the Project Veritas video. Just think about that. A gutter rat sloozy can make up a claim from 35 years ago, and then the Democrat Party is going to use that to stop this country. The Democrat Party is going to use a fake claim from a gutter rat slut that they know is fake to stop this republic from getting a Supreme Court justice in. You think about that, and you tell me how desperate these people really are, and you tell me there is no length that they would not go to. But you know what? Let's just forget that. Project Veritas comes out with the third video this week where they have actual people in the government, Democrat operatives in the DOJ and other bureaucracies saying they're doing everything to stop Trump. They can't be fired. They're breaking the law. Here is the latest video from Project Veritas. The deep state unmasked. Will you spread this video? Will anybody care? Will Trump act? Will the Republicans act? Will people in media act? Or are we just going to let these people run our lives?
Government auditor, right? So I work for the Government Accountability Office. Everyone in my office is close to me now. Not only knows that I'm a socialist, knows that I'm in DSA. And I kind of...
They do know, they don't know.
The Democrat Socialist Party of America is infiltrated our government.
You have to be strategic with that thing.
Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here, just unelected bureaucracies saying they're going to take our country down.
Yeah.
We have some folks who are like Trotsky. I have informed them. I filed all the paperwork I needed to file.
Yeah.
I was purposely a little bit vague about what kind of organization it was. I'm like, it's a community organization.
So he broke the law. Here he is admitting he broke the law, admitting he's a communist. Nothing to see here.
So when you're at work, can you do DSA stuff too? Like when you're actually in the office?
Can is a weird question, right? I would get fired if they knew that I was, and I do. Technically,
well, now they know. So I hope you get fired.
Is stuff I'm not supposed to be doing for work. So like it's explicitly prohibited. So like, if they find out, I can get in trouble with it.
So like, is there a specific law that says like that you would be violating if like that you're involved with DSA?
I don't think it would be a federal statute.
Okay. Well, that's good.
It would be fireable though, because all the legal activities are at will.
Yeah.
Like, I have a friend who works as a contractor for DOT, and he has a TS clearance, and he's very active.
So top security clearances, socialists infiltrating.
Slow ball things.
And they admit it all. It's all on tape.
Effective, and maybe you get in trouble, and maybe, you know, you get fired or you resign or whatever, but like you slow them down for a certain period of time. That's been my attitude. It's like I break rules every day. At any point, I could get fired for stuff that I do with DSA.
So Project Veritas and James O'Keefe have 5 different bureaucrats on record from their own lips saying they break the law, they're socialists, they're communists, resist everything, they're breaking the law to stop Trump, they're doing everything to stop Trump, they're working in collusion, they know they're all working in collusion, it's all coming from the Democrat Party, it's all from their own mouth, on record, Project Veritas caught them, and what are we doing? We do nothing! What the hell is wrong with us? Because the Democrats have been such liars and frauds, and the media outlets like, you know, ABC and CNN and MSNBC and the Washington Post and the New York Times, because they've been such just egregious liars and frauds and anti-Americans for so long, it's like it's become passé for us. It's become run-of-the-mill. So we don't have the instinctual reaction of this is an emergency, we have to act, like red alert. It's like they've numbed us to all the anti-Americanism. They've numbed us to all the fake news. They've numbed us to the dire straits they're taking to try to kill this country right now, where just think about it like this. Again, I mean, I can sit here on a microphone all day and tell you, but like, to what end? If you're a Democrat and you make up any allegation against a Republican, what happens? It has to be believed. How dare you question? Media runs with it, big story, it becomes a national story, and then it just becomes accepted as truth, even though it was made up from the very onset. That was the whole purpose, was to make it up and then make it a story. This is what the Democrats do every time, and it always gets accepted. Now, look at it from the other side. A Republican wants to make a claim against a Democrat with evidence, with eyewitnesses, with a police record, with medical records, all the facts, settlements, cases, documents. What happens? Nothing. Zero, zilch, nada, no media coverage. They get away with it. And you can use dozens of different examples, but all you need to do is look at Brett Kavanaugh versus Keith Ellison, and that explains everything, folks. Brett Kavanaugh, stand-up gentleman, totally dignified, totally full of integrity, impeccable record, the most pure person Trump could have put on the Supreme Court. That's why he did it. Now I'm getting it now. But what happens? Some slut, some drunken alcoholic slut from his high school makes up a story about him, and it becomes the biggest story in America. It becomes true that it happened, even though the lawyer says she doesn't have to prove it. They have no witnesses. The only witness says it didn't happen. The only people even standing up with her is Hollywood, who are paid for actors acting in some video like they know her or know the story. They don't know jack except how to be frauds. But that gets accepted, and now we're not allowed to have Brett Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court. So that's how that goes. Now let's look at the other side. Keith Ellison, two women within the last 2 years, with eyewitnesses, with corroborated testimony, police records, medical records, all available to the public. They file their charge against Keith Ellison. What happens? Zero media coverage, no outrage from the Democrats, like it never even happened. So, real abuse and assault by Keith Ellison gets ignored, doesn't get a story. He's still allowed to run for Attorney General of Minnesota. Very dangerous. Fake story, made up accounts, no proof, no evidence. 35 years ago against Kavanaugh, he can't run. You're not allowed to have him. Shut this down. And if you can't see, if you can't look at that dichotomy and see how drastic this situation is, folks, I don't know what's going to wake you up. I really don't know. Owen. Because that's everything. Yes. No, Alex, come on. Alex Jones with us.
No, we got a siren on Drudge. Let's get it back there.
We got Drudge up here?
Rosenstein wanted to wear a wire on Trump. They're all a bunch of Hillary operatives. DrudgeReport.com. Get it up right now. We got a siren.
What do we do about this, Alex? I mean, how do we stop this?
They got Soros, the Nazi collaborator, and all these criminals after us. They're all just insane. We have to move against them. Rosenstein wanted to wear a wire, plot to remove Trump. Holy Toledo. Let's click on that right now.
It's just like, it gets worse every day with these people. Rosenstein.
Power man.
Pull that back up, guys. Okay. We're going to pull the story up. It's breaking. This is in the New York Times. Rosenstein suggested he secretly record Trump and discuss 25th Amendment. Oh, my gosh, folks. It was a sting operation from the entire time. But hold on. People need to understand. I need to stay focused here. This is about destroying you.
Owen, that's what I'm telling you. They've all committed so many crimes. They're like the bank robber has the kid saying, I'll blow their head off. That's why they're so dangerous. These people are crazy. Google broke their algorithm to censor. These people are out of control. That's the good news is they're going to go down. Look at that. Rosenstein, that little son of a bitch, thinks he's elected. He thinks he's better than America.
How do we get that to people, though, that they understand this is about them literally controlling you? This is about them running your life. This is about them destroying the very fabric of our society so that they can get away with high crimes.
These that think they're God secretly recording the president. This little bastard. This little Mueller dropper.
Just look at that guy trying to set up President Trump that we elected because we wanted to put America first. And that rat
wearing Nazi tennis shoes.
I bet he sells Nazi tennis shoes too, and I bet PayPal allows him to operate.
They certainly let the Muslim Brotherhood operate on PayPal.
Oh yeah. You don't even say that. You'll get banned for even mentioning
Everyone needs to boycott Soros PayPal. Soros pal. When you go to PayPal, you give money to George Soros. He now owns it. America gonna put up with this crap? What you gonna do? We're fighting.
No, exactly. That's exactly it. The fact that we put up with this garbage. And Alex, they caught him. Project Veritas caught him on tape. I mean, it's like, when are we going to move? Honestly, do the Democrats have to be raping your daughter and stabbing you in the frickin' neck for you to realize who these people are? Seriously, does Eric Swalwell have to come to your house and rape your child and stab your granny in the neck just for you to see how crazy he is? Oh, and they're going to say, Schroyer accuses it. No, I'm not accusing Eric Swalwell of anything. I don't know what kind of demons Eric Swalwell has in his closet that he's such a fraud and a liar. Where he says, you want to know how demonic someone like Eric Swalwell is? So first of all, the man running against Eric Swalwell had an attempted murder against him, okay? A radical Democrat attempted to murder the person running against Eric Swalwell in California. Now, why is that? I don't know. I hope Eric Swalwell had nothing to do with that. I hope that the Democrats aren't so desperate to keep little Swalwell in office, so they send out an assassin to kill the opponent. I hope that's not the case. Would I be shocked if the Democrats did that? Not at all. Just look what they did to Vince Foster. But then, after days, just mere days, after Eric Swalwell's opponent had a murder attempt on him, he's asked about threats that Susan Collins was facing, the Republican congresswoman, if she doesn't vote no on Kavanaugh. And Swalwell tweets, boo-hoo-hoo, you're a senator who police will protect. You are a disgusting devil, Eric Swalwell. I don't understand a man like you, but I think I do. I think I understand a man like you.
Owen, we already knew this. We already knew this, that he worked for Mueller and the Clintons and that he changed the control to him. But it was that he, and these documents about to come out, wanted to lead a 25th Amendment coup against the president.
Oh my gosh, this is probably all in the documents that are about to come out.
That's why they're releasing it now.
We're doing a soft release so that we don't have the real release.
Exactly. He was working to do a 25th Amendment coup against the president with Sessions. There goes
So they're like, oh yeah, well, we were going to do a coup, but they're telling us like, oh, we were doing it for you before we come out.
It says the Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein suggested last year that he secretly recorded President Trump in the White House to expose the chaos consuming the administration, and he discussed recruiting cabinet members to invoke the 25th Amendment. He was preparing a coup. He believes he's the president. To remove Mr. Trump from office from being unfit. Not Mr. Trump, but President Trump. Mr. Rosenstein made the suggestions in April 2007 when Mr. Trump's firing of James P. Comey, FBI director, plunged the White House into turmoil, which everybody said he should fire. Over the ensuing days, the president divulged classified intelligence to Russia.
You got to come back. You got to come back on air. This is too big. This is too big. This is getting totally out of control, ladies and gentlemen. Now, before I start going into this New York Times story that just broke, red linked and siren on Drudge, headline, Rosenstein suggested he secretly record Trump and discussed 25th Amendment. Now, I'm going to read this whole article in the next two segments. Rosenstein has already come out and denied this. So think about that. They can't even figure out their own coup right now. They're so out of control. They can't even get their coup against America straight because there's so many different angles and attempts to destroy this country. But before I go into this article, here's what people need to understand. This is not a political talk show talking point. This is not some political talk show narrative. This is not for your entertainment. This is not me coming up with smoke billowing out of my ears for you to laugh and point and cry and agree or whatever. This is an unelected group of people inside the government, inside unelected bureaucracies that are attempting a coup against the President of the United States. But it's not just the President of the United States. It's against you. They believe they decide this country's fate. They believe they decide who the president is. They decided it was Hillary Clinton. We, the people, decided it was Donald Trump. So they decided they were going to remove Donald Trump and stop us from having any democratic republic whatsoever. That's the story here, folks. That's what needs to sink in. This is beyond Donald Trump. This is about a deep state. This is about a shadow government. This is about crime at the highest levels, if not bordering on treason, straight up treason, being committed by a shadow government, a coup against America, where we elect a president and they say no. We put a Supreme Court justice in via our president and they say no. Are you going to let a couple elites inside a shadow government that they even admit now in the New York Times exist? Are you going to let them control your life? Are you going to let them steal your vote? That's what they're doing, folks. That's what they're doing. They are trying to steal your vote. And I'm going to tell you something here. They already rigged these elections, folks. The will of the American people is so against the deep state right now, it's not even close. If you had a fair election right now, and every single American, almost 330 million, if you had a real election, not rigged, a real election right now, 330 million Americans, I bet you 250 million Americans would support Trump and support his agenda right now. But what do you have? 20 to 30 people inside a shadow government and operating from outside, like Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, trying to dictate this country using their propaganda wings of television news like CNN, MSNBC, using their propaganda wings of press like Washington Post and New York Times, using their propaganda wings of entertainment like the NFL and Hollywood to try to act like those 30 people that want to run your life are the minority when it's a tiny few elite that are trying to destroy this country and destroy our democratic republic. That's what you need to understand. And they use all of their propaganda wings and the optics to make you think that you're not winning, to make you think that we're not having an American revolution. We are having such an American revolution right now, it's not even funny, and they're trying to do everything to stop you. They want you, you're basically a slave to these people. You went and vote for Donald Trump, don't care, we're going to remove him from office. That's what they think. Now, let me get into this story from the New York Times that Rosenstein has already denied that he tried to set up the president. From Adam Goldman and Michael Schmidt at the New York Times, just published, headline, Rosenstein suggested he secretly record Trump and discussed 25th Amendment. The Deputy Attorney General Rod J. Rosenstein suggested last year that he secretly record President Trump in the White House to expose the chaos consuming the administration, and he discussed recruiting cabinet members to invoke the 25th Amendment to remove Mr. Trump from office for being unfit. For being unfit. No, that's for existing, for winning. That's why they had to get him out, because he won. Because we decided the country. We decided the president. We wanted Trump. We didn't want Hillary Clinton. We decided that. They decided, no, you don't get Trump. Mr. Rosenstein made these suggestions in the spring of 2017 when Mr. Trump's firing of James Comey as FBI director plunged the White House into turmoil. Oh, but who wrote the letter of recommendation to President Trump to fire James Comey? Who was that? Rod Rosenstein. A self-fulfilling prophecy. You write the letter of recommendation to fire Comey, he fires Comey, and then you launch an investigation into him firing Comey. That is Rod the Rat Rosenstein. Over the ensuing days, the president divulged classified intelligence to Russians in the Oval Office. What is that even talking about? And revelations emerged that Mr. Trump had asked Mr. Comey to pledge loyalty and end an investigation into a senior aide, which we're about to get the FISA documents on that, which is why they wrote this story as a soft release to say, oh, well, yeah, this all happened in the FISA, and they were illegally spying, and they were all behind it, and Obama was involved, and it was a setup from the beginning. But we did it because we had to stop Trump, who was unfit. We did it because Trump was so uncouth. We did it for America. Total bull. They did this to defeat America. Mr. Rosenstein was just 2 weeks into his job. He had begun overseeing the Russia investigation and played a key role in the president's dismissal of Mr. Comey by writing a memo critical of his handling of the Hillary Clinton email investigation. Or how about the fact he just shut it down after it came out she was guilty. But Mr. Rosenstein was caught off guard when Mr. Trump cited the memo in the firing, and he began telling people that he feared he had been used. This is unbelievable, this propaganda. Mr. Rosenstein made the remarks about secretly recording Mr. Trump and about the 25th Amendment in meetings and conversations with other Justice Department and FBI officials. Uh-oh! Uh-oh! Rosenstein's denying this. Somebody's lying. Several people described the episodes, insisting on anonymity, I can't even pronounce it, to discuss internal deliberations. The people were briefed either on the events themselves or on memos written by FBI officials, including Andrew McCabe, disgraced, then the acting bureau director that documented Mr. Rosenstein's actions and comments. Uh-oh! Oh! Now the deep state faces off against itself. None of Mr. Rosenstein's proposals apparently came to fruition. It is not clear how determined he was about seeing them through, though he did tell Mr. McCabe that he might be able to persuade Attorney General Jeff Sessions and John Kelly, then the Secretary of Homeland Security and now the White House Chief of Staff, to mount an effort to invoke the 25th Amendment. Oh! Now we know why people didn't want InfoWars to get on the president's desk. Now we know why Jeff Sessions is doing nothing. Now we know why people had to stop headlines like President Trump, be warned, they're coming at you with the 25th Amendment from getting to his desk. Oh, the deep state becomes a little clearer now. All right, let's get right back into this New York Times article. I'm going to finish that, and then there's new breaking news coming from Judicial Watch, and then there's another development with the Kavanaugh situation, but let me go right back into this story. The extreme suggestions show Mr. Rosenstein's state of mind in the disorienting days that followed Mr. Comey's dismissal. Disorienting days, extreme suggestions. Sitting in on Mr. Trump's interviews with prospective FBI directors and facing attacks for his own role in Mr. Comey's firing, Mr. Rosenstein had an up-close view of the tumult. Yeah, again. So they're building this whole narrative up. This is them coming out with the soft release of what we're about to find out in the FISA courts, acting like the Trump administration is out of control and the Comey's firing was unjustified and Rosenstein is just trying to keep everything under control. Mr. Rosenstein had an up-close view of the tumult. Mr. Rosenstein appeared conflicted, regretful, and emotional, according to people who spoke with him at the time. You know, I bet that has something to do with the crimes that these people are trying to cover up more than anything. Mr. Rosenstein, however, has disputed this account. He says, I quote, "The New York Times story is inaccurate and factually incorrect. I will not further comment on a story based on anonymous sources who are obviously biased against the department and are advancing their own personal agenda. But let me be clear about this. Based on my personal dealings with the president, there is no basis to invoke the 25th Amendment." Oh, talk about cover your ass. So it actually looks like what may have happened here, as we read on, and it becomes clear, actual patriots inside the FBI and the Department of Justice are calling out Rosenstein and Sessions and the like for not just a dereliction of duty, but in effect, a soft coup against the President of the United States and against the American will. It goes on. A Justice Department spokeswoman also provided a statement from a person who was present when Mr. Rosenstein proposed wearing a wire, going undercover against the President of the United States, folks. Like, just think about this. They have positioned themselves against America. Like, they have taken the position against America, wearing a wire to go in and try to set the president up that we elected. The person who would not be named acknowledged the remark, but said Mr. Rosenstein made it sarcastically. But according to others who described his comments, Mr. Rosenstein not only confirmed that he was serious about the idea, but also followed up by suggesting that other FBI officials who were interviewing to be the Bureau's director could also secretly record Mr. Trump. That's treason. You're going to jail. You know, remember what Hillary Clinton said? It's a good thing someone like Trump didn't get elected. And what did he say? Because you'd be in jail. President Trump. No, look. President Trump needs to hear this. President Trump, they will put a bullet in your head by the year 2020 if you do not act now against these people. You need to fire up military tribunals. You need to fire up independent investigations. You need to launch special counsel against these people, or they will kill you just like they did JFK. Believe it. Just like they tried to do to Reagan. Believe it, President. They are on a full-bore mission to bring America down. They are on a full-bore mission in a coup against this republic, and you're public enemy number one to them, President. You're standing in their way. If they can't remove you with the 25th Amendment, they'll remove you with death. You have to act now, President. You have to act now. These people know no limits. They do spirit cookings. They fly to Pedophile Island. They lie to try to keep a Supreme Court justice off the Supreme Court. You have to act now. We need military. The West, oh man, let me just go back to the article. Mr. McCabe, who was later fired from the FBI, declined to comment. His memos have been turned over to the special counsel investigating whether Trump associates conspired with Russia's election interference, Robert S. Mueller, according to a lawyer for McCabe. Oh, great. So the records of high treason against this country are going to the man who's engaged in high treason against this country. Great. Yeah, that'll go real far. A set of those memos remained at the FBI at the time of his departure in late January 2018. Lawyer Michael Bromwich said of his client, he has no knowledge of how any member of the media obtained those memos. Oh, you mean the deep state leaks? Wow, shocking. To the New York Times even? Oh, even more shocking. The revelations about Mr. Rosenstein come as Mr. Trump has unleashed another round of attacks in recent days on federal law enforcement. No, on treasonous federal law enforcement. Thank you. Saying in an interview with the Hill newspaper that he hopes his assaults on the FBI. Oh, they use that, assaults on the FBI. No, the FBI is assaulting him. The FBI is assaulting this country. The FBI's been assaulting this country. They lied about the Gulf of Tonkin. They lied about Hitler. They lied about the JFK assassination. They'll lie about anything. They're the treasonous ones. They're the ones assaulting this country. And you know what? If President Trump actually drains the swamp, which is not going to happen from tweeting, then it will be his greatest accomplishment ever. If he puts Hillary in jail, if he exposes Obama for his high crimes, that will be the greatest achievement, not just for President Trump, but for this nation's history. It will be. And it's the only chance we have of survival. The only chance we have of survival. Here's a quote from Trump. If I did one mistake with Comey, I should have fired him I should have fired him before I got there. I should have fired him the day I won the primaries. I should have fired him right after the convention. Say, I don't want that guy, or at least fired him the first day of the job. Mr. Trump, President Trump, you're going to say the exact same thing about Robert Mueller in 2 years if you don't fire him now and anyone else under him. Days after ascending to the role of nation's #2 law enforcement officer, Mr. Rosenstein was thrust into a crisis. No, they created the crisis. On a brisk May Day, Mr. Rosenstein and his boss, Mr. Sessions, missing in action, joined Mr. Trump in the Oval Office, where the president informed them of his plan to oust Mr. Comey to the surprise of White House aides who were trying to talk the president out of it. Oh, why is that? Mr. Rosenstein embraced the idea, even offering to write the memo about the Clinton email inquiry. He turned it in shortly after. A day later, Mr. Trump announced the firing, and White House aides released Mr. Rosenstein's memo, labeling it the basis for Mr. Comey's dismissal. Democrats sharply criticized Mr. Rosenstein, accusing him of helping to create a cover story for the president to rationalize the termination. Okay, so he writes a real memo about how Comey totally botched and even had a rigged investigation into Hillary, and they say, oh, how dare you let the president know we let Hillary off scot-free? How dare you let the president know we let Hillary Clinton break the law? How dare you let the president know that Hillary Clinton had Chinese operatives inside her illegal email server, and then they killed 20 assets in China and tortured them? Yeah, how dare you let the president know that? Hillary should be allowed to do that. Senator Christopher Murphy writes, that scum, you wrote a memo that you knew would be used to perpetuate a lie. You own this debacle. What lie? Oh, you mean Hillary Clinton didn't break the law? I mean, see, this is what I'm telling you, folks. These Democrats, I don't know are they all raping kids? I mean, seriously, are all of these Democrats raping children? Why are they such liars? What do they have to hide? Why do they hate this country? Why do they hate the truth? No, I'm serious. I don't get it. I don't get it. Why are they so committed to the total lies? Why are they so committed to killing this country? Why do they sit here and ignore any and everything accused or alleged against a Democrat? But if a mouse crawls out from if a rat crawls out of a dumpster and goes, oh, did you hear that rat? That rat said Trump raped it 30 years ago. Get that rat on stand. That rat needs to testify against Trump. That rat, get that rat. That rat can bring Trump down. He's got real allegations against Trump. What the hell is wrong with these people, man? When will Trump act? Bring these people down. They have freaking spirit cookings, man. All right, I'm going to finish up with the new New York Times story and then a breaking Judicial Watch story, and then Roger Stone is going to bring in his expertise here to break this down. Going back to the New York Times, though, the president's reliance on his memo caught Mr. Rosenstein by surprise, and he became angry at Mr. Trump, according to people who spoke to Mr. Rosenstein at the time. Well, how does that make any sense? If you write a memo suggesting something to the president, and then he follows through on it, why would that catch you by surprise? Why would that make you angry? I don't know. I guess you'll have to ask Rosenstein. Goes on. Mr. Rosenstein then raised the idea of wearing a recording device, or wire, as he put it, to secretly tape the president when he visited the White House. One participant asked whether Mr. Rosenstein was serious, and he replied animately that he was. Now, can you imagine if someone had a secret wiretaping Obama? We've already heard some of the stuff from Secret Service, what Obama was engaged in, but I mean, my goodness. If not him, then Mr. McCabe or other FBI officials interviewing with Mr. Trump for the job could perhaps wear a wire or otherwise record the president, Mr. Rosenstein offered. So here he is actively engaging in a coup against the president, against America. White House officials never checked his phone when he arrived for meetings there, Mr. Rosenstein added, implying it would be easily to secretly record Mr. Trump. Well, I got news for you. Mr. Trump, as you put it, is not as dumb as you might think, and he records everything already. I digress. Mr. Rosenstein's suggestion about the 25th Amendment was similarly a sensitive topic. The amendment allows for the vice president and majority of cabinet officials to declare the president is unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office. So just imagine, here's President Trump making progress with North Korea, saving the economy to degrees we can't even imagine, having huge rallies. He's doing 2 a week now. When tens of thousands of people show up cheering him, he speaks for hours on end without a teleprompter, fully coherent, and they think that they can say he should be removed for the 25th Amendment because he's unable to discharge his powers? I mean, folks, you know, this is just unbelievable that they think they can get away with that. But this is what the Democrats do. They think they can bring up some high school slut to stop Brett Kavanaugh from getting on the Supreme Court. Yeah, I said it. Christine Blasey Ford is a high school slut floozy. Go ahead and put that on Media Matters. I don't care. Someone has to say it. Oh, but Judicial Watch comes out with a story, headline, new FBI records reveal Strzok authored initial draft of Comey letter to Congress about Clinton emails on Wiener laptop. And so the picture comes even more clearer. folks, this is such a rigged job. It's not even funny. So I bring Roger Stone in now. Roger, something came clear to me today. You started reporting right here at InfoWars and trying to get the message to President Trump that they were going to use the 25th Amendment against him. Right after you did that, whether it was John Kelly or other powers that be, stopped InfoWars from getting to the president's desk. They put a cease and desist on all InfoWars material getting to the president's desk. Do you think President Trump is going to recognize what the hell's going on here? We told him they were coming for the 25th Amendment. Now the New York Times tells him after the FISA warrant is about to be declassified as a soft launch to let the president know, yes, there was a coup against you. Yes, it was the 25th Amendment, but they were doing it for the right reasons. I mean, Roger, just what do you make of this?
Well, first of all, you're absolutely right, Owen. InfoWars was the first major media organization in the country to report on the fact that there would be a 25th Amendment coup to try to take down the president, that if the Russian collusion frame job failed, which it clearly has, that the next line of defense for the deeply entrenched two-party duopoly would be a 25th Amendment coup. Now we have the Deputy Attorney General, in fact, the de facto Attorney General of the United States, caught red-handed plotting against his boss, the President of the United States. The reason that they want to take the president down is abundantly clear in the controversy over the president's order to declassify all of the information pertaining to the illegal and unconstitutional use of FISA warrants by the Obama administration. Now, defying the president's orders, the intelligence agencies insist on continuing to redact part of that information, claiming falsely that it would somehow endanger the national security or would expose their methods abroad or here in terms of surveillance. These are fake excuses. They're covering up the political use and abuse of power to surveil the Republican candidate for president. If President Trump does not now fire Mr. Rosenstein, when will he do so? Their desire to remove him is directly related to the fact that he is about to expose them in the largest political scandal in American history.
Roger, I mean, I'm like, I don't even know how to explain my mood. I mean, people can see it from tuning in today, but we're in a state of emergency. And I just don't know if President Trump fully understands. Obviously, he's smart. Obviously, he gets it. He talks about it. But, I mean, what is he waiting for? That to me is the bit. What are you waiting for, President Trump? They're coming for you. They're coming for this country. They have to be stopped. He doesn't Roger, he needs to fire everyone. Everyone needs to be fired. I'm serious, man.
Well, Owen, actually, I think today's a very good day because the Rosenstein story is not in some obscure conservative website, but it's broken by the New York Times. That means that there's zero chance that the president doesn't see it. You see, around the president, there's a huge game of keep away that goes on constantly while Kelly and his other handlers try to stop him from seeing what's really going on. Meanwhile, they keep giving him terrible advice. For example, a story in The Hill today that says a number of our foreign allies are concerned about this order to redact because it may affect them. This is nonsense. The president is surrounded by either timid advisors or advisors who are putting their interests and the interest of the deep state that they serve ahead of the president's interest. For example, arguing, oh, don't fire Mr. Sessions and Mr. Rosenstein before the election. That'll hurt you in the election. Fire them after the election. Then, if the elections don't go well, they'll say, oh, you can't fire them now. You don't have the political support in the country to do so. The president really does need to fire everybody and start over again, with a few exceptions. Larry Kudlow is doing an incredible job implementing the president's plan to revitalize the American economy. There are a few patriots in the White House. but not many.
Well, and look, you know, I don't think John Kelly is the enemy of this country by any stretch. I don't think John Kelly's bad, but if John Kelly is playing any sort of role as a filter or keep away, he's got to go. I'm sorry. He's got to go too, because nobody else is going to tell the president what's actually going on. Nobody else is going to raise the red flag, raise the alarm like InfoWars. And if John Kelly is keeping us off the president's desk, then President Trump's never going to understand how serious this is.
But let's be clear. General John Kelly, just like General Mattis, have a first loyalty to the military-industrial complex, to the deep state. We know, for example, that Mattis voted for Hillary Clinton and spoke for her during the election. The president keeps referring to him as Mad Dog, a nickname that, from what I understand, he despises. And he denigrates the president behind his back. Kelly thinks his job is to save the world from Donald Trump, not understanding the president's eccentric operating and management style, which, by the way, works. Look at the American economy. Now he threatens the deep state as never before because their entire Russian delusion, collusion, fraud will collapse. It was only built as a diversion from the real crimes of the Obama administration pertaining to the misuse of FISA warrants. This fight is getting riper by the day, but unfortunately, it's the drip, drip, drip of information that comes out while the mainstream media continues to harp on non-existent Russian collusion. We learned only recently that Bruce Orr had briefed Adam Weissman, the #2 man in the Mueller investigation, on both the fabrication of the dossier and that Andrew Weissman had been the Deputy Attorney General who signed off on the extension of that illegal warrant. So the deep state is in deep trouble, and that's why they are talking about a 25th Amendment takedown.
This is the fight for the Republic. We are in the fight for America right now. Do not be twisted, folks. Do not be confused. This is the fight for America. President Trump is the last president to save America. Either we win now or America dies at the hands of the Democrats.
Welcome to the Alex Jones Show. Still on the air, still fighting the forces of censorship, fighting for the First Amendment. I'm Joel Gilbert, guest hosting this hour, coming to you from the People's Republic of California, right from the left coast. You know me as a frequent guest of Alex, filmmaker. Don't forget the new film, Trump, the Art of the Insult. Buy it in the InfoWars store. Support InfoWars, Trump, the Art of the Insult. Got a lot to cover this hour. We're going to first get started by talking about John Kerry. John Kerry, we had news this past week, undermining the United States once again. He's been illegally advising and negotiating with the Iranian regime how to deal with and overcome Donald Trump's sanctions, trying to salvage the badly flawed Iranian nuclear deal. Now remember, Obama's notorious 2015 nuclear deal transferred billions of dollars on pallets in cash to the world's leading exporter of terrorism, and it gave them a pathway to acquire nuclear weapons at the end of 10 years. That would be 2025. Now, Obama and Kerry did not take the deal to Congress because it had no support. It was just a personal deal between Obama and the Iranians. And Trump canceled the deal, of course, and slammed Iran with new sanctions. So John Kerry goes to Paris to meet with the Iranians and undermine U.S. policy. Let's play this short video reminding us, because we've seen this movie once before. Want to see John Kerry before Congress, 1971. Let's remind ourselves what he was up to. Okay, we'll bring that up next segment. I'm going to bring on Frank Hawkins, has written an article. He is the former U.S. Army intelligence officer, Associated Press foreign correspondent. And his new article in American Thinker is John Kerry, a Traitor for the Ages. And Frank, are you there? Welcome back to the show.
Yes, thanks very much. It's good to be back, Joel.
Okay, so first of all, we got just 2 minutes before the break, then we'll take it up again with a video. What did John Kerry do in the Vietnam era? How much time did he serve in Vietnam, and what did he do as soon as he came back?
starting off, Kerry served the normal tour of duty for someone serving in Vietnam was 1 year. Kerry served a total of 4 months. And the reason he got out early was because he had received a number of medals, including 3 Purple Hearts. The Purple Heart, of course, being the medal that you are awarded if you were wounded while under fire in a combat situation. He had a Silver Star, and I think he also had a bronze medal. It was well established some time ago by John O'Neill, who wrote a book together with Jerome Corsi, who of course is very familiar to this audience, and basically he ended up faking those medals. He was able to game the system, and it was a totally despicable bit of business.
Okay, well, want to remind everyone we are taking calls all this hour. The phone number is 1-877-789-2539. That's 877-789-2539, 789 You can call and talk to myself and our guests. So we're going to come back after the break, continue with Frank Hawkins about John Kerry, who apparently we know now faked his injuries to serve only 4 months, apparently only enough time to get some film footage to come back and testify before Congress and begin his political career. We'll be right back in a couple of minutes with Frank Hawkins, former AP foreign correspondent, on John Kerry, the traitor. Right back with you. Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. Joel Gilbert coming to you from the People's Republic of California. We're continuing to take calls, 877-789-ALEX. And we're talking about John Kerry, part of the resistance ever since he came back from Vietnam. He's been advising the Iranians how to deal with Donald Trump and overcome the U.S. sanctions. Frank Hawkins wrote an article for The American Thinker called John Kerry, a Traitor for the Ages. Let's play a quick clip of John Kerry in Congress when he came back from Vietnam.
We rationalized destroying villages in order to save them. We saw America lose her sense of morality as she accepted very coolly a My Lai and refused to give up the image of American soldiers that hand out chocolate bars and chewing gum. We learned the meaning of free fire zones, shoot anything that moves, and we watched while America placed a cheapness on the lives of Orientals.
Okay, Frank, so tell us about what John Kerry was up to in Congress, slandering the United States, slandering the U.S. military, and what was he trying to accomplish? And then what did he do, and talk about his meetings with the Viet Cong in Paris at that time?
Well, let me just point out, and it's very important to understand this piece of it. At the time that he testified in this Senate committee, and at the time that he went to Paris and met with both the Viet Cong and the North Vietnamese, he at that time was in fact still a reserve Navy officer. So that's an important piece of background to understand what was going on when he went to Paris. And at that same time, by the way, Henry Kissinger was involved in negotiating an end to the war with the communists. So, and later, at one point, Kerry admitted, he said, I've been to Paris. I've talked with both delegations of the peace talks. That is to say, the Democratic Republic of Vietnam and the Provisional Revolutionary Government. And so he admitted what he'd done. That was most astonishing of all. I mean, the clear violation of the Logan Act. A lot of people don't know, Joel, that during that time, he also published his own book. And by the way, I have a copy of that book. And it is despicable what he did there. And one of the things he wrote in that book was, he said, we are probably angriest about all that we were told about Vietnam and the mystical war, to get that mystical war against communism. He went on to say that a new soldier, and by the way, that was the name of his book, The New Soldier. He said, a new soldier has returned to America, to a nation torn apart by the killing we were asked to do. He said, we will not quickly join those who march on Veterans Day. We will not readily join the American Legion or the veterans of foreign wars. We will not take solace from the creation of monuments. And, you know, since I have written this article and one of the other articles that I wrote for the American Thinker that referenced Kerry as the most destructive America in my lifetime, it's amazing how many Vietnam vets have been in touch with me via email or by phone or whatever, and almost every one of them were aware of what traitorous behavior that Kerry undertook and what he'd done. And I tell you what, Joel, the anger is still out there among those vets, and it's very deep.
Okay, let's put up that tweet from President Trump where he talks about John Kerry needing to be investigated for violations of the Constitution and the Logan Act, where he's talking about this is a violation of U.S. law. You cannot go and negotiate with foreign adversaries. That's only the role of the U.S. government. Let's go real quick to, we got Chris in Alabama. Chris, go ahead. You're on the Alex Jones Show with myself and Frank Hawkins.
Hi, I'm Chris from Alabama. John Kerry should be indicted, and although I have a lot of friends in the military and stuff, he should be brought in and indicted and prosecuted, because the way I feel, he should be put in front of a firing squad and shot, because what he's done is wrong.
Okay, Frank, look, give us some other highlights of John Kerry between betraying the United States with the Vietnamese to betraying the United States with the Iranians, all in Paris. What are some of the other highlights or lowlights of his career? I think he also went to Nicaragua and cozied up to the Sandinistas. That was one thing. And I think later on, of course, his daughter, we know, married an Iranian tied to the Iranian regime. What else can you tell us on the in-between years of these bookends?
Well, on the in-between years, I mean, all the things that you just pointed out, of course, were very much correct. You know, after he came into the Senate, one of the first things he did in 1985, that he traveled to Nicaragua and he cozied up to then President Daniel Ortega, a far left-wing Sandinista who had at that time very strong ties to Cuba and the Soviet Union, of course, and they had been accused on their own right of human rights abuses, but these were the guys he was cozying up to. And then again in 2005, he surfaced with his same old theme that he's always had, and that is slandering American troops. That's one of his favorite things to do, it would seem. And in 2005, he claimed that the U.S. forces were terrorizing the Iraqi people. And in fact, he told Bob Schaefer on Face the Nation, he said, look, he said, there's no reason, Bob, that young American soldiers need to be going into the homes of Iraqis in the dead of night, terrorizing kids and children, you know, women. I mean, this is just outrageous slander against our good military, and it just, in my opinion, of course, it's just, I think it's unforgivable. In fact, in 2006, at a Democratic campaign rally in California, he told a group of college students, you know, education, if you make the most of it, you study hard, you do your homework, and you make an effort to be smart, you can do well. If you don't, you get stuck in Iraq. I mean, boy, that really tells you where this guy's coming from.
What about as Secretary of State? He was Obama administration, one of the most hostile to the state of Israel, U.S. ally, only democracy in the region that has supported American defense initiatives for many years. What was his role in the Obama administration vis-a-vis Israel and their conflict with Hamas as well as Hezbollah?
Yeah, well, of course, he has the Jerusalem Post recently had a piece in which they accused Kerry of having an acrid and obsessive place in his heart for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, as well as Israel itself. And Kerry is one of those guys, he said he's actually blamed Israel, you know, for the rise of the Islamic State. And he even went on to say the Islamic State's ideology has nothing to do with Islam. Of course, we all know it has everything to do with Islam. Post also reported that Kerry earlier this year met in London with a very close associate of the Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas. And the name of this guy is Hussein Agha, and he met for him with a long conversation, and Kerry told Agha to tell Abbas that Trump will not remain in office for a long time. It was reported that Kerry said that within a year, there was a good chance that Trump would not be in the White House. I mean, what could be more treasonous than that?
Right. Well, the radical left has always been very hostile toward Israel. Israel being a national state with strong borders, strong defense, and Western values. This has always been something that the left has been hostile and unhappy about. So it's no surprise that being anti-Israel was part of Kerry's makeup, as well as being anti-American all these years. Someone who almost became president, don't forget. I'm going to come back in 3 minutes. Keep your calls coming in. It's 1-877-789-ALEX, 877-789-2539. We'll be right back after the break. We're going to cover the Ted Cruz-Beto O'Rourke race in Texas, and more to come on the Alex Jones Show. Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. Joel Gilbert coming to you from the People's Republic of California. We're going to talk about now one of my favorite U.S. senators, Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is considered to be in some trouble in Texas. There's a lot of enthusiasm for one Beto O'Rourke, a Irish-descended guy with a Hispanic name. And Trump has agreed to go to Texas to do a big rally in October to bail him out, hopefully. Let's take a look at a video of talking about a recent poll, what's going on in Texas with Cruz and Beto O'Rourke. Let's take a look.
Well, the Senate race in Texas is gaining national attention ahead of November's midterms, and one poll is giving an edge to the Democrats. A recent Ipsos Reuters poll gives Democratic Congressman Beto O'Rourke a 2-point advantage over Republican Senator Ted Cruz.
President Trump has said he plans to hold a major rally for Cruz in Texas in October. Alana Rocha is a multimedia reporter for the Texas Tribune. She joins us now from Austin, Texas. Good to see you.
Thank you. Good morning.
So, Alana, Texas is a reliably red state, although it's sort of been inching towards purple, according to some polls.
You get the idea that the news is covering a lot of polls that show it even or Cruz even behind in a red state. So, look, Cruz's opponent is a lightweight. This guy worked as an internet provider for 10 years, like customer service. He ran for El Paso City Council. I think he was in a band. Nothing wrong with that. But then he ran for Congress as a Democrat, of course. He never did anything in his whole life. He's a lightweight. Of course, Ted Cruz, a lot of experience, Solicitor General of Texas, argued before the Supreme Court, deep knowledge of the Constitution and the law. The problem with Ted, if you say, what's wrong with Ted Cruz? Ted's problem is he's not living up to his standard of excitement that he brought in the past. He was exciting when he was a man on a mission. When he comes in with this kind of a boring approach, he says things like, when there's extreme hatred on the left, don't respond in kind, have fun, be a warrior. So Ted used to be the guy that would be bold and get in your face and stand up to Obama, first guy to stand up to Obama, shut down the government over Obamacare. 100% support for Ted Cruz. People remember even this one, he read Cicero on the Senate floor. Let's remind ourselves how much and why people love Ted Cruz with the Cicero video.
The words of Cicero, powerfully relevant 2,077 years later. When, President Obama, do you mean to cease abusing our patience? How long is that madness of yours still to mock us? When is there to be an end to that unbridled audacity of yours, swaggering about as it does now? Do not the nightly guards placed on the border, do not the watches posted throughout the city, does not the alarm of the people and the union of all good men and women Does not the precaution taken of assembling...
Okay, let me break in here. This is the kind of thing that Ted did back in 2010, 11, 12. 2012, 13, 14. He was the bold leader, and people loved him. In this campaign, Cruz is not giving anyone any particular reason to go out and vote for Cruz, other than the fear of the negative. He tried that in the presidential campaign. He would say, if you vote for Donald Trump, it's a vote for Hillary. So now he's saying, well, vote for me so I can continue the Trump agenda. It's not really a mission. And Ted has to have a mission, and the reason for that is he's not a very personable person. He doesn't have the personability of most politicians. People misunderstand him in that way. He's not a natural politician. It's very hard for him. People mistakenly think this might be because Cruz is aloof or he's arrogant, but that's not true. Ted is just extremely shy. He's a very shy person. He doesn't warm up to people easily. Now, he's in politics for the principles, upholding the Constitution, all the right reasons. He's not there to schmooze, and he's not there to make friends. So Ted doesn't really have the personality or even the looks to get people to want to run out and vote for him. He has to have a mission. And he's repeating the same mistake of his presidential campaign, where he didn't have a mission. He just said, well, I'm Ted Cruz, go out and vote for me. Even though he was the outsider candidate. He was the guy that was going to drain the swamp. But when the election campaign started, he hired a very establishment campaign team. He had an establishment campaign strategy, have a chairman in every state, a chairman in every county, go through the motions of fundraising. But he was fundraising with no mission, with no message. And he's got the exact same team now in Texas. He's doing the exact same mistakes where he's just running around raising money and giving a standard stump speech with no mission. Ted Cruz has to have a mission, a special agenda to get people motivated, because he's not a natural politician that you're going to run and vote for. That's what happened in the presidential campaign. Donald Trump came along and said, okay, Ted, if you don't want to be Ted Cruz, you don't want to be that outsider guy that you've been talking about, I'll be Ted Cruz. And that's how Trump won, as the Ted Cruz candidate, the drain the swamp guy. Let's look at my clip from Art of the Insult, and you'll see how the clash went down between Trump and Ted Cruz. A clip from Art of the Insult.
The media would love to see Donald and me get in a giant food fight. I'm certainly not going to engage in that. I hope Donald won't either.
Trump retweeted this image. Cruz's wife in an unflattering pose next to Melania Trump.
When I saw somebody tweeted a picture of Melania and a picture of Heidi
with the caption, "No need to spill the beans. The images are worth 1,000 words."
An enraged Ted Cruz looking right into our camera to deliver this message to Donald Trump.
Donald, you're a sniveling coward, and leave Heidi the hell alone.
I have to tell you, I think Heidi Cruz is a great person. I think it's the best thing he's got going, and his kids, if you want to know the truth.
Leave Heidi the hell alone.
So will you support him as the nominee?
I'm going to beat him.
He was asked today about a National Enquirer story claiming he has had 5 mistresses.
This National Enquirer story is garbage. It is complete and utter lies. And it is a smear that has come from Donald Trump and his henchmen. It is a story that quoted one source on the record, Roger Stone, Donald Trump's chief political advisor. Let
me break in here. So you get the idea. When it came to a clash between Trump and Ted Cruz, Trump clearly won. Ted became unnerved. In principle, he didn't want to fight back. He said, I don't want to go there. I don't want to have a food fight. And, Trump attacked him on all kind of areas, and Ted just kind of melted down as Trump, made the point. Ted needs to rally. He needs to come up with a mission. He needs to explain why he can be the leader of this mission to preserve the Constitution, the defender of liberty again. Without that, I don't think the Texans are going to be so motivated to give Ted another 6 years in office. We're going to see Donald Trump go down to Texas to a big rally, and hopefully we'll see if Ted, one of my favorite senators, he's the real deal. He believes in the Constitution. He believes in America, but he's not a marketing guy. and he needs to follow his instincts. Trump followed his instincts, and Ted did not. We'll be right back. We're going to talk about the socialism deniers in the next segment, 877-789-ALEX. Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. Joel Gilbert guest hosting from the People's Republic of California, right from the left coast. We'll be taking calls next couple segments, 877-789-2539, 877-789-ALEX. Now, we've all heard of climate deniers, and the Democrats like to call everybody deniers that doesn't believe in their view of the world. I have come up with a new term. I call it socialism deniers. The Democrat Party is now an open, radical socialist party, and Trump is letting them know, we saw even in the rally last night in Las Vegas, that they're looking to bring socialism, Venezuela style and worse, to America. Let's look at a clip of Trump at the UN talking about socialism in Venezuela.
The problem in Venezuela is not that socialism has been poorly implemented, but that socialism has been faithfully implemented.
Venezuela has the world's largest oil reserves, yet shortages of basic necessities like toilet paper and medicine abound. Citizens queue up for food at bare-shelved grocery stores. Others pick through trash.
Okay, look, socialism means the things that Bernie Sanders campaigned on: breaking up American business, putting the government in control, breaking up the banking and pharmaceutical industries, agriculture. It's all about nationalization. The government takes over everything. The Department of Pharmacy, the Department of High Tech, and government officials are very inefficient. They're not very skilled. So you put state bureaucrats in charge of all these great businesses, and the entire country becomes one big failing socialist enterprise. But people still go to Bernie Sanders rallies and they clap, even though they have no idea what he's talking about. Let's look at a quick clip of Bernie and his socialism from the 2016 campaign.
If Wall Street does not end its greed, we will end it for them. Not only will big banks not be too big to fail, but big-time bankers will not be too big to jail.
Right, this is communism. They put the bourgeois or the entrepreneurs in jail because they're evil, and the government takes over all the industries. And then all the industries fail and everyone starves. I visited Russia when I was a student, 1984, the height of the Cold War. Andropov was prime minister of Russia. And I visited many of the refuseniks, the people who were applying to leave Russia. And I'll tell you a conversation I had that explains everything you'll ever need to understand about socialism. I asked one of these guys, I asked him where he worked. He said, well, I work in a factory. I said, what do they make? He said, nothing. I said, well, how's that possible? He said, in communism, you don't work 8 hours a day. You just have to be at work 8 hours a day. And I said, well, why don't they fire you? He said, well, the manager is drunk and he doesn't work either. And I said, but don't you need to earn money? He said, why should I bother earning money? Have you ever been to any stores in Moscow? I said, yes, I have. And they're empty. He said, that's right. There's nothing to buy, so why should I work? So that's the story of socialism. It's depression, alcoholism, starvation. That's what they did in Venezuela. They nationalized everything: oil, agriculture, finance, telecommunications, food. Everything's going out of business. The history of socialism, progressivism in the 20th century is that they murdered 150 million of their own citizens in peacetime to try to force them into this idea of this utopian world where the government controls everything and everyone is so happy. I'll play you a clip from my other film, In the InfoWars Store, There's No Place Like Utopia, talking about the communist ideology and what really goes down. Let's play that clip.
In Cambodia, the communists killed everyone who had glasses, because if you had glasses, you could read. You were educated. You have to do something with the people who have the bad knowledge in their head. So we're going to start with a clean slate and just create new human beings. It's a very evil idea,
In the South, there are still generations of people, and they just have to die. They just have to die.
The most evil atrocities of our time have been committed by utopians in power. They think that they are the divinity. That's why they're so dangerous. That's why they kill so many people.
All right, so look, today's Democrat Party has adopted this agenda. They're in denial that it's 100 years of complete failure. So I call these Democrats today the socialism deniers. Let's take a look at the socialism deniers. Bernie Sanders, he's a big socialism denier, but he's managed to get the rest of the Democrat Party to go along with his socialism. Let's put up the photo of Bernie Sanders, the denier. Next one, of course, Hillary Clinton, socialism denier. Let's put up all those photos of the deniers. Barack Obama, socialism denier. There's Hillary. There's Obama. Cory Booker, I'm just going to read them off. Socialism denier. Kamala Harris, right here from California. She's on the list. Socialism denier. Progressive socialists, they're all in denial. They won't tell you the truth about socialism. They deny the reality. Now they've got the new ones, of course, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's in there. There's a socialism denier. We've got Andrew Gillum in Florida, socialism denier. And this is a technique that the left has been using since the 1930s. People have seen my film, Dreams from My Real Father. And Obama's real father, real dad, the man who raised him, of course, Frank Marshall Davis, the Russian agent who raised him, was recruited by white communists in Chicago to try to trick black people into joining the communist movement. Now, they wanted no part of it because blacks were religious people in Chicago. They believed in love thy neighbor. They weren't interested in class warfare or atheism. So they sent Frank Marshall Davis out to Hawaii to try to start a strike to take over the island because they wanted to remove U.S. naval forces from Hawaii. He started a strike that eventually failed. And in my film, I think I made an argument with a mountain of evidence that that's Obama's real dad, and that Obama then followed in his father's footsteps back to Chicago, where white communists, Bill Ayers, former Weather Underground terrorist, had his father bring Obama to Chicago, where he became a community agitator. They use the word organizer as a nice way of saying it. And Obama's job was to infiltrate the black church groups because they thought if they had a front man who was black, they could convince minorities to join the socialist movement, even though it was completely against their own interests. Even the black community in Chicago were no fools. They rejected Obama. He was thought of as a phony, as a radical supported by communists. It was only when he put his presidential campaign together that he was able to present this story of my father's a goat herder from Kenya, I'm going to bring us all together, and so on and so on. But it was a stealth socialism. It was a socialism where he pretended to be middle of the road. I'm going to cut the deficit in half. I'm going to support the Constitution. We're going to enforce our border laws. And as soon as he got into office, of course, he threw the voters under the bus and pursued this radical agenda that nobody voted for. 8 years later, the Democrat Party is an open socialist party, but they are denying the reality of socialism. That's why I call all of these, let's put their pictures up again, the socialism deniers. It's going to be Hillary Clinton, denier. Barack Obama, of course, denier. Cory Booker, socialism denier. Kamala Harris, socialism denier. These are the deniers of the reality. And now they've recruited these minorities like Ocasio-Cortez, Gillum. These people are trying to manipulate people of the same race or identity into voting for this cause, and they're all put there by white socialists and communists. We'll be right back taking phone calls for the rest of the hour. Come on back after the break. Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. Joel Gilbert coming to you from the People's Republic of California, guest hosting this hour. We've covered quite a bit. We've talked about John Kerry, the traitor for the ages, negotiating with the Iranians behind the back of the Trump administration. We've talked about Ted Cruz and the problems he's having in Texas with Beto O'Rourke, because Ted has not defined a mission as to why he should go to the Senate again. Hopefully Trump will bail him out. And I've talked about the socialism deniers, how the Democrat Party today is full-blown radical socialist, and they're denying the reality of the misery of socialism. All those illegal immigrants come from mostly socialist countries that are trying to get away from socialism, and the Democrats are wanting more of the same, as well as the rest of us. We're going to take calls the rest of the hour. Let's go to Craig in Louisiana. Go ahead, you're on the Alex Jones Show.
Oh, yes, hi. I wanted to say, first off, it's an absolute honor to talk to you, Joel. I'm
Thanks.
a long-time listener of the program. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, what's on your mind? Lay it on us.
Yeah, I have a very quick and easy. It's I call it my 5-point plan for success for us to win this November. 1, infrastructure. It's so sorely needed. It has to be big. It has to be bold. Bye, thank you. And we got to get it going. I believe if the president pushed for it, the Congress forced it through, the Senate, I believe you got that, plus Kavanaugh.
Okay, I'm gonna give you only one because we're limited on time. That's a great idea. Thanks for the call. That Trump pushed for the agenda to rebuild America. Why spend trillions in the Middle East for achieving nothing? Why can't we give $1 trillion to Detroit or Chicago or rebuild our roads? I think he's made some progress on it, and it's definitely part of a winning formula. Thank you. Let's go to. I want to go to Ethan. Ethan in Kansas. Go ahead. You're on the Alex Jones Show.
Yes, nice to talk to you, Joel. A couple things on my mind. First thing is people need to stop feeling like we need to wait for someone to take action, to make the change that we want to see. The time is now, and it really does. It feels good to be involved. It's empowering to be active. And, we've been out recently doing some protests over the interstate bridges and holding up signs and talking to people, doing interviews. And that's what it's really all about, because I've been a long-time listener, and not only for the information, but you guys correctly identify the spiritual motivation of people that are trying to destroy this country and rule the most intimate aspects of our lives as being, leaning towards Satanism as far as the upper echelon of the control grid goes. And we know that we're right. We know that we have God on our side, that we are standing for truth and justice and reality. So quit relying on other people to go out there and do it for you. We need to get involved. We need to
okay. All right. Well, thanks for the call. Look, it's a good point. These are interesting times, and you hear Obama running around, Michelle Obama filling stadiums. You got to be involved. You got to vote. Well, that's certainly true for everybody, especially conservatives. If we come out and vote, we have the ability to do things ourselves. If you don't go out and vote, the radical left is busy registering everybody, including illegals who can vote by mail, and there's no way to track them. Voter fraud is going to be huge in this election, as it is every election. People have no idea how bad it is, but that's for another show. Again, 1-877-789-2539, 1-877-789-ALEX. I'm going to go to Benny in Texas. Benny, you're on the Alex Jones Show. First of all, tell me from what you know, what's the mood and the feeling about the Senate race in Texas between O'Rourke and Cruz?
Oh, hey, how you doing, Joe? Mr. Joe Gilbert, it's good to be on with you. I listen to you every time you get on with Alex Jones and everything. I like your video from The Art of the Insult, Donald Trump. And but yeah, other than that,
thanks. Well, you live in Texas. What are you hearing and what are you feeling about the mood? Do people want to send Ted Cruz back to Washington, or has he lost the edge? What do you think?
Well, see, I live in El Paso, Texas, actually, and you know what? I'm a truck driver, and I don't get much of the local news. But when I do, it's not looking too good for Ted Cruz, because I mean, well, it's El Paso for you, but I mean,
okay, well. All right, and then what do you want Trump to do in terms of the deep state, what's happening right now?
Yeah, see, you know, I'm hoping Trump can do something about, you know, going, you know, like, you know, indicting the people that he has to indict. You know, I don't know what's taking him so long. I mean, I do hear, you know, Alex Jones and Owen Schroyer and everybody else, Rob Dew and everybody else, you know, talk about that, you know, it has, you know, it takes time. You know, he needs to get the people in place to, you know, to get a good, thorough investigation going. But, I mean, sometimes, I mean, you gotta think and wonder if this is happening like, you know, like biblical proportions to like where it, you know, sometimes you know, you want to think that Donald Trump may be the biggest, you know, like, how do you call it? Like, you know, the Antichrist, the biggest deception. But, you know, I'm still believing that he is not, you know, that he's still the real deal.
Thanks for the call. Look, it's definitely somewhat of a frustration and a mystery. Donald Trump built a career on "you're fired," and he just doesn't seem to want to pull the trigger on all these clearly conflicted bad actors, the bias, the deception. Bruce Orr, I went to high school with Bruce Orr. I've known Bruce Orr since I was 6 years old. And he should have been fired a long time ago. Now, I can tell you about Bruce Orr that he actually is a very honest person. And I think everything Bruce Orr did was probably at the direction of his wife, Nellie Orr, who was a red diaper baby. Her mother was a communist supporter. She went to Russia, studied Russian, became heavily involved with the whole Russian collectivization, writing about it. So I think Bruce got in way over his head, but he should have been fired along with everybody else, and Trump seems to be holding back. That's the one thing that conservatives are just super frustrated. Why can't this guy pull the trigger already? Let's go ahead to Dr. Kelly in California. Dr. Kelly from the People's Republic, welcome to the Alex Jones Show.
Hey, I'm used to having about 40 seconds, so I'll make it quick. I'm thanking you for pointing out the issues with John Kerry, and I started faxing Congress a couple years ago about violations of the Logan Act, and that's 18 United States Code annotated section 953 for those interested. And the socialism deniers, Jerry Brown and Kamala Harris, are also bar attorneys. And that's the one thing that I'm grateful for, is that Donald Trump is not a bar attorney. And I think Ted Cruz needs to read The Art of the Deal and get it straightened out. And thank you for your work.
All right, Dr. Kelly, thanks for all your comments. Look, we've been through it on this show. Ted Cruz is just going through the motions, fundraising, giving a standard speech. He doesn't have the personality or the looks to be someone that you just say, wow, this guy, I really want to send him to Washington again. He's just kind of hanging on like he did in the presidential race. He needs to find a message and an agenda to justify why he needs to go back to Washington. Hopefully Trump will straighten him out when he shows up. Let's go to Raphael in the Bronx. Bronx, New York. Raphael, you're on the Alex Jones Show.
Hi, how you doing? I just want to say, first of all, thank you, because you guys have made such a big impact. I'm Puerto Rican. I'm calling from the Bronx. I just want to let Donald Trump know that he has a huge Latin support. I want him to know that. And I feel that he should get more bolder. You know, there's so many people out here ready to take the streets. As far as, you know, the same way that they're doing peaceful protests, he should lead us and know that the support is definitely there. We're waiting for him to just push that button and tell people to go out there, because we're ready. He has a huge support, and I just want him to know that we have his back, and we're not giving up.
Okay, why? Tell me, Raphael, why does he have that big support in the Hispanic community? Why?
Because people need to realize that the Latin community has always been conservative. People have been, you know, brainwashed to think that we're just supporting this system of welfare, and that's not true. I'm a working class Puerto Rican male from New York, and I come from a conservative family. And when we look down at it, yes, we've been forced to vote Democratic, but you know, when you really look down at it, you know, we have Republican views, and you need to support. I'm a Republican now. I'm a Republican, registered Republican in New York State. And there's so many
people. Rafael, look, these are great points. Thanks for the call. We're just ending our hour. Thank you for the call. A lot of support among Hispanics, traditional conservatives. Blacks are traditional conservatives. They're all starting to get it now. Thanks for being here on the Alex Jones Show. I'll see you next week.